practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden...
This is a special question. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimedia, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.
Welcome to another edition of the Adam Dunn Show. I am your host, Adam Dunn, and we're late. We're late to our own lateness. But it's a cool number.
I'm that other guy, Dave.
It's a cool number, 433. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, right?
Sweet.
I just had Mercury retrograde on my rig as we started the show.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Everything broke down, like technological breakdown. All right. Well, welcome to the show.
It's a symptom of 2020 right now, man.
It is.
That's what happens when you live the same
look at
day
Tate.
for
Tate's like, I just
237
got to my
days.
computer. Come on, Tate. Come on now. It's okay, Tate. We'll be fine. So
Tate, we're busy for another hour.
We have
Call back at 6.
Our yearly October Ron Wallace show. We have to have one. I mean,
Right.
It's impossible to not check in with the man himself, the world record pumpkin grower, Ron Wallace.
I thought he invented pumpkins.
Wallace Organic Wonder is the name of the company. Former sponsor of the show. I hear word on the street is he may jump back on board because he knows the Adam Dunn show helped solidify him in the world of massive pumpkins. Not really. I mean, he was.
Does he know we'll take a sponsorship fee in pumpkins?
Yes, exactly. But Ron's going to check in with us. I think he's had a really hard year. It sounds like this is not the crushing year. It's about as bad in the pumpkin world as it is in every other world right now. It's inevitably trickled down to a drought-like situation. It sounds like on the East Coast, and we'll get all the gloom and doom from him. But we're also going to check in with Tate, who was on the show quite recently. So it's not like we ran out of ideas, but we have a kind of an update because maybe was it 3 shows ago we had Gannon and the crew on. So Gannon had this amazing crop. When he was on the show, we were talking about harvesting it, and I got to watch everything go just like we talked about on the show. The highs, the lows, the fucking possibilities of not getting something out of your entire crop because you fucked it all up because of one particular reason. But we're going to talk about how he came so close to losing a big majority of that crop, but he made a phone call, and it was just took the one phone call, and then I called
the pizza
Tate.
man. He called the pizza man.
He called me, and I called Tate, and then Tate saved the day. So I was like, all right, let's do the victory dance on this one because at least for once, it wasn't
Hold on, Adam. Take
it wasn't
your hand,
hindsight.
Put it up like this.
What are you
Put
talking?
your hand up like this, and then just reach back.
Yeah.
And then
Back.
just pat yourself in the back right there.
I'm telling you
there
though.
You go.
Telling you, all it takes now.
There
But it was good to see it in action. Like we literally had, because Tate had showed me his drying machine, which was amazing, and it's a separator too, so it's not just drying; it's actually separating your fiber from your material that you can actually make extracts from, so you don't have all that fiber in your material, which decreases your yield and all the above. But basically, if you take all that into effect, he basically had a failed crop, technically a failed crop because of the fact of, as we'll explain during the show later, just harvest nightmares. And the one thing about cannabis you can always guarantee is that if it can fuck something up, it's going to fuck something up when it comes to harvest machinery, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to do all that, have a little update, and we're going to have James Bean, man on the scene, is going to be calling in. He's got some news. He's going to be the new news guy, actually. He's our new news guy. Yes, he is the new news guy.
Wait, is it seed news or is it like general news? Like
it's seedy news, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty seedy.
Somebody bred with someone and popped a big one, and there's some testicle seeds coming down or something.
Testicle seeds, Dave. Where
where
the fuck are you going right now?
Big cojones.
Where the fuck are you
Wow,
going?
man.
Wow, Dave. Wow,
I checked out for 2 seconds and I came back.
bagels have kicked
He
in
came back
hard.
and I
The
brought it into the weeds.
bagels are kicking in. No, he's got
See,
some
that's
news.
what I'm going to do. I'm going to eat a gummy at the beginning of every show.
Well,
Oh.
he's realized that it's hard to be man on the scene when you can't go anywhere anymore. Because before he was like he was here, he was there, he was everywhere. Now he's in Oklahoma, so there's like his scene is being reduced. So he will be our news segment of the show since Dave failed miserably, and so did MTI, and pretty much everybody else who I've asked, like, hey guys, could you do one thing, like give me the news? So I don't have to think about that part, because otherwise it's like, what is this, the
Actually,
Adam Dunn show or
I
something?
got-
Is this the Adam Dunn show? I got to do everything kind of thing, or what?
Right.
Let's do some
Fuck.
cannabis news then.
What?
I was on an
Oh, no,
interesting call
and
yesterday.
You had some cannabis news, actually.
Man, we're gonna have a news section today.
News on news.
I did. What did I have? What did I?
Nothing. He doesn't have anything.
Shit.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Don't
You
worry
forgot.
about it.
Yeah,
Forget
we're
about
good.
it.
Yeah,
Hey,
don't worry
forget about it.
No, I
Tell
got cannabis news here. So apparently, I was on this call last night with a federal lobbyist, a Republican lobbyist, who runs a multi-billion-dollar fund, who literally has the freedom to walk into President Trump's office and talk to him about anything at any time. And he had some really interesting views on the future legalization of cannabis. And it's just, I'd love to hear everyone's opinions on this, but my take is on it that really here in Colorado, a vote for John Hickenlooper for senator is a vote against cannabis, because Cory Gardner has come out and been positive and pro-cannabis his whole time in office. And there is this rumbling that if the Democrats take control of all three branches of government, that they will Schedule II cannabis, which would fuck everyone up. And your friend, what was his name? The guy who runs that God, I'm spacing his name right now. You know him. He started the first cannabis club in California. Do you remember his name?
They had the TV show, right? Is that what you're talking about? Like the
No,
dude
well,
with the
his take is that there has to be complete descheduling. That if either party comes into power
You don't want to.
and
You
turns
don't
it
want it
over
to be.
Schedule II,
Yeah, you don't want that because that's bullshit.
no,
right there. That's
is bad.
It's worse.
But that's the rumblings that what will happen with the Democrats, because Joe Biden has been around for so long and still considers cannabis a gateway drug. Kamala Harris has locked up so many cannabis users in California. It's ridiculous. They just do not have a good cannabis track record right now.
in the vice president debate. Kamala said something about decriminalizing marijuana and
Yeah, that's the key though. Decriminalizing is not
exactly.
A good
No, I know. That's
It's
that's why I
sneaky.
said it.
That's
yeah.
total sneaky shit right there. When you hear the word
Right,
decriminalize,
exactly.
you know you're getting fucked. So don't go for
That's
that.
like asking somebody the question, when's the last time you beat your wife? You know,
is it?
it's a terrible thing.
I guess
That's
leading the
not a way
witness.
to answer
Leading
the
the
question.
witness. Leading the witness.
Right.
Yeah. And so I'm not, it was interesting. He tried to take the position that Trump is just going to deschedule if he gets elected again. And I argued back. I said, well, why would he fucking wait for that? He could have guaranteed himself a second term 3 months ago if he announced descheduling of cannabis, because there wouldn't be 47 million people early voting. We'd all be home and stoned.
Are you talking about?
going,
Are you
"We're
talking about?
just fine."
Are you talking about D'Angelo? Steve D'Angelo? Or are you talking about somebody else?
I'm talking about Trump.
No, I'm talking about
it
the.
wasn't. It's not.
I know because I
No,
was like,
not
no,
Steve
I know. I was
D'Angelo.
like, because that's what that's Chet Dang, and I was like,
No,
no,
I got him in my notes.
some guy. It's some guy.
No, hold on. I'll find it later. But I spoke to you about him. You know him from way back when.
Of course it is.
And he is total descheduling. And he painted a very sobering picture of what could possibly happen to our beloved industry if
Well, that's
if
the
they
people
don't-
don't realize is that we've been in this weird phase. Like every state that comes online is like, oh yeah, this is going to be great. And then if you're in a state that already happened, you know for a fact that it didn't happen. It's like it got worse because all of a sudden, within 24 hours of legalization, it kicks in and the people started realizing how much they're going to be spending on taxes, what they're getting for their money, et cetera, et cetera. And you're like, well, we actually like the old system. And the thing is, cannabis should just be like tomatoes, really. I mean, it should be like just like anything else. Like, it should just be like some veggie. You just go out and you grab some seeds and grow it yourself. And then there can always be a professional guy out there who's making pasta sauce. Like we can't make pasta sauce, right? But people still got whole aisles of this shit, right? So it's like there's always going to be a brand. There'll be somebody out there who's lazier than you. That's
his
kind
name
of
is Jason Beck. That
Oh,
was
Jason.
here.
Yeah, of
That,
course. He was
yeah.
on. Yeah,
So
Jason.
he is so
From Oz. The
brilliant and
name of
smart.
the club is Oz, and yeah, he's definitely.
Oz. That was it.
Yeah.
And he's running a lobbying firm, Impact 420, right now, and they're trying to speak to representatives on both sides of the aisle to really encourage them to deschedule, because if we and it's I honestly this one gets me nervous. This one gets me nervous. They could come in with a stroke of a pen, and they could make it a Schedule 2 pharmaceutical. And we know how much
I mean,
power the pharmaceutical
I have
industry
a hard
has.
time believing that they're going to go against the industry though itself. I mean, it's kind of like we've proven ourselves pretty well as far as like if you look at, you know, as the states are rolling out, most places are getting benefits out of this. There's more benefits than not, you know, and if they aren't, it's usually based on location and just, you know, of course it's going to be harder if you're in a already difficult place and then you throw weed into the mix, just makes it that much more tempting to get robbed, et cetera, things like that. But when you get but if you look at the bigger picture and how much tax money it generates, how much you know, social things come on, it's like that actually are positive. It always outweighs it. You know, it's like
I think actually, and tell me if you disagree, but I think it's CBD that's going to save the industry, because CBD has become so globally popular, and it's just one cannabinoid in the cannabis plant that they can't unfuck that one. They're not going to be able to roll that one back. It's too ingrained into mainstream products now. So I think when it comes down to it, they're going to stabilize the CBD supply chain and the minor cannabinoids. Then in a few years, they'll unfuck themselves and just roll THC into an already existing legal framework for how you can distribute cannabinoids.
I think the
That's
key
my
is
take.
that everyone's going to figure out, like you said, CBD is definitely the poster child and definitely gets the most positive press, and people are always, you know, it's so great. Well, it is good. I mean, it's definitely beneficial, but it's not without THC. In my opinion, it's barely there. And so I think once people get that idea, like they realize, oh shit, you actually need all these cannabinoids, not just one single one. That will help possibly pull it into the forefront. But I think also what's going to happen is through all the different scientific studies that go on now over the next few years, they're going to unlock so many things, and it's going to come back to THC each time. They'll be like, fuck, but you need it. And I guess we gotta have to have it. So it's almost like it's the necessary proponent that's in the fucking, or component, I should say, necessary component within the plant that is totally necessary for full functionality.
And I'll accept the compromise that all we have to do is talk about minor cannabinoids for the next few years and try not to talk about THC, and eventually the wave will, you know, kick forward again, and nobody will give a shit. But it has to stay descheduled. So if you're somebody who is active and you speak with your legislators, you really need to be talking to them. You can go to Impact 420, which is Jason's site, and you can learn how to speak with them, the little buzzwords you give or the letters you write. But we want descheduling.
Yeah, even understanding
rescheduling.
what a minor cannabinoid is, because that's something that a lot of listeners probably don't have a fucking clue what you're talking about. They're like, what the fuck's a minor cannabinoid? And then all that means is, you know, THC and CBD being the primary ones that everybody's sort of focused on. Now CBG and CBC and CBN.
THCVA.
And, you know, and then it goes down the list, but there's all these other minor cannabinoids, which are really where all the magic's going to be in the next few years. Like that's where all of a sudden they're like, holy shit, look at how this thing binds to this receptor. And it'll be like magic, where it's those
We just discovered CBDEFG.
Yeah, there you go.
Teaches you the alphabet.
100%. No, and it's exciting times in that way, but it is like you said, it's precarious in the sense of we're not out of the woods yet. It's still all over the fucking place. You know, you got states that are full rec, they go straight to rec, skip medical entirely, which is always funny to watch because then they really are looking at it from a completely different view.
Revenues. They want revenues.
And you know, it was really sad when Oregon kind of destroyed its own medical system, and when Washington State and all these places just sort of like gave up on it in a weird way. You're like, really? Like people don't just
I gotta
stop becoming medically.
With all due respect.
What? Tell me.
With all due respect, I think the reason that Washington and Oregon's medical program struggled and eventually will fizzle in Oregon
Already did.
is because they didn't tax it. Washington had no taxes on it. So therefore, they couldn't buy representation in their legislature. Nobody stood up to protect it. It was just a bunch of smart people who tried to convince people of the beauty of having a medicinal program. They didn't see it because they weren't getting the tax revenues. So they created, I-5053, which did away with medical in Washington.
I think that'd be fine if it was truly. The problem is that it is all sort of half-assed, because if it was medical, when you say medical, to me, it's like, is it because people want cheaper, better weed, or is it because they truly are medical? If they're truly medical, it shouldn't even have to pay for it, right? It should just be like, that should be absorbed into the actual main part where, like, I don't mind if a portion of my proceeds went to all medical patients getting their own free cannabis. That'd be no problem. It'd be like, I don't think everybody would be like, sure. Oh, it's like rounding up your fucking sale at the supermarket, right? If it was like, hey, would you mind rounding up your sales so people can get free weed? Everybody, fuck yeah, round that bitch up to the next $10. I don't
How
give
do
a
I
shit.
sign up for that program?
You know what I mean? It would be huge. And if you think of every single sale, like, I mean, Colorado was like, it was like over $1 billion in a like last month or something crazy, right?
Yep.
In
Yeah,
sales.
it's crazy amounts of money
So
going on right now.
easily a portion of that could go to giving free medical cannabis, because then the numbers of the patients would become more realistic, right? Instead of it being like, we've got 108, like, because Colorado became it was always the healthiest state, and then because of medical cannabis, it dropped way down the list, because you can't be both healthy and a medical patient at the same time, right? If you're like, hey, I'm a medical patient for cannabis, but I'm really healthy, it doesn't really make sense. So you had to like throw those numbers into the mix, and all of a sudden we went from like the top state to like number 10 or something like that.
Yeah, but didn't we only have at our height about 180,000 registered medical patients? And I don't think it ever got above that. I mean,
No, but that's still a pretty good number of people at it's a chunk. This state's only 5 million, right? So,
Right.
But in general, it was always funny to see how, like, if you took the real numbers of those, so out of those 180, probably 80 were truly like 100% medical, to the point where like they were homebound or, had a condition that was obvious, like, okay.
we call that the above the line. Mm-hmm. Right. So when you were filling out the form, the top 3 they would put, right, was cancer, HIV or AIDS, glaucoma. And then they put this thick line, and then they had the other 4 requirements down to severe pain. So we used to say that if you're above the line, man, not only should it be free,
Right.
you should be the people that they're bringing towards in front of our elected officials, so that it can be medical, right? To be medical, you need to be able to claim it on insurance. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, no one ever pushed. No one ever thought about how that would happen. Nobody ever sat down to create a framework for saying, you know what, in 5 years after the program we're going to eventually allow you to, if it's medical and we believe in it, you're going to claim it on your Kaiser insurance or whatever, PCP you have. And and you get it, maybe it's not free, but it's discounted the same way you get discounted prescriptions. And
Sure. Well, I mean, and that's the the crazy part about it is we're going on like 10 years, close to 10 years, and they still haven't really figured that out. It's like, come on, we can implement things like this on a state level, but once it goes federal, which is what we were saying earlier, it's going to be really sad times, because there's going to be huge money getting involved. The second that happens, everything changes. Not only does your local sort of situation change, but like the whole vibe is going to be different. So
well, the rumblings I'm hearing from some of the people I know in the financial markets are that if the Democrats take over everything, the only reason was Jeff Sessions.
Anti-Democrat today.
Wow.
Dave.
No, I'm pro-cannabis. I'm pro-cannabis.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
I'm really pro. Listen, a mutual friend of ours gave me the business, and I listened to his point, and he's absolutely spot on. Right? A vote for John Hickenlooper in this election.
This is Colorado we're talking about.
Is a vote against cannabis, because
it always has been. We knew Hickenlooper was not worthy of any of our votes ever.
But I call it the Hickenlooper principle in regards to the fact, like, somebody like Jared Polis has his aspirations on a higher office. Therefore, he doesn't want to be so progressive with cannabis The same reason Hickenlooper didn't do it, because he actually thought he was viable for the presidency.
That didn't work out.
So, no, well, because he took the wrong position on cannabis. I don't, I'm screaming this. All you had to do was come out in favor of cannabis. Okay. All the people who kept calling it a gateway drug, you know what? Newsflash. They're fucking old now. Okay. They're old.
Yeah.
There's way more younger people out there who just, they smoked. They know it's not a gateway drug. They didn't start doing crack and heroin, So that whole notion is gone. Unfortunately, the Democrats right now are bringing forth a very old candidate. The Republicans are too. And neither of them wants to take a position on cannabis. And I think that could have been a swing.
I know. I always find it crazy too, because it's like, it's pretty damn obvious. I mean, it's like any show you watch, the word cannabis or joint or anything, and the whole crowd goes fucking nuts every time. It doesn't matter what crowd it is. It could be like a bunch of conservative looking people, and they seem to, it just strikes a chord every time. So it's like, how easy is it to fucking get people excited on such an easy thing? And plus, it's already, like, the whole industry is already happening and it's taking care of itself. So you wouldn't even have to do anything. You just have to go, like, give it a thumbs up, and that's all you would have to do.
Open the gates.
That's it.
Yeah, just let us go. We know what to do. But you talk about getting people motivated in it. I would suggest that if you have someone in your life that is taking the position of, it's a drug, I don't want to do it, you have to Google or go to YouTube and do 3 grandmas smoke pot.
Mm-hmm.
And
seen that, yeah.
They do 3 cops smoke pot. They did 3 grandpas. It is, you can't make this shit up. They were just like, oh, how do I use this? They just show them which end to smoke from. And then they're laughing and having a great time and relaxed and enjoying. Nobody hit anybody. Nobody freaked out. Nobody said, hey, would you pass me a crack pipe now? It was anything. Oh, look, we almost had a Puffco malfunction there for a second.
No, I almost stepped on my own fucking headphones. I was like, ah.
But I highly encourage you to, that's something you really should watch. If that's a great way to open up cannabis to someone who, isn't on board.
What happened to the bagels, Dave?
Oh, did you hear that? So, I spoke with Rosendogs. All right. I said, listen, I'd love to make you some bagels. Thank you for all the support. Really appreciate you. You're like the chat gang general or one of the generals. And let me send you some bagels. He's like, no problem. I'm like, I'll FedEx them to you. I'm going to time it so that I'm taking them out of the oven yesterday, surprisingly, at 4:20. Perfect time.
Wow.
Cooled them down.
That's what happened right there, dude.
No. Bagged them up, boxed them. Label was already printed. Went to the FedEx drop box that says 6 o'clock is the last drop off. It was the green, has not occurred yet. I throw it in. I get the confirmation that it shipped. I wake up this morning. Now it has to go to New York. It made it as far as Indianapolis. They must have smelled so good. Somebody was like, hey, it's fucking breakfast time. 3 a.m. here. Let's eat some bagels. And that was that.
They were running those bagels through fucking X-rays. They were like, "Who the fuck is FedEx
They're
and
like,
bagels?"
What fucking moron would spend $100 to overnight $20 in bagels?
It doesn't make any sense. That's 100%.
No sense at all.
No. But
I wanted them to have a bagel during the show. I thought that would be cool.
Because usually in those situations, if they think it's weed, or they'll contact you. They'll contact the number. Did you have a number on there or no? Was there phone?
It was filled out perfect. I used my own FedEx account with my name on it, with Rosendog's personal information in there, with his phone number and email and everything.
Because usually they'll call you and say, hey, we have a package. Do you give us permission to open it? And that would have been great, because you could have. I would have been great if you could have recorded that conversation. Like, yeah, you can definitely open it.
Hold on a sec.
Sound all stressed.
I just got to get Jeff on the phone. Bring Jeff Card on. Do you want to open what?
Yeah, no, for sure. But they'll do that, and then they'll be like, yeah, and then they open it up and they tell you exactly what they see inside there. So, anyway,
I'm surprised they didn't go, sir, we're going to open your package. And I would have said, do you have cream cheese?
So what? There's nothing. That's it. Dead bagels, because you can't get them 3 days later.
Rosin has the. I don't see. Listen, I'm not FedEx savvy, but was there a spot I was supposed to check where it said perishable food item? I didn't check anything like that. I just
Shouldn't
did
have to if it's
priority
an overnight.
If
If
it's
it's an overnight,
overnight.
if it's overnight, there shouldn't be no worry about perishable. That should not even be a situation.
No, I guess I have an argument regardless of what was in it that it was, they're going to charge for priority overnight, but it's not going to get there till Monday, which is the slow boat to China.
Well, you got a door block or whatever you can use them for.
I don't know. Maybe they'll deliver them tomorrow. You never know.
If they're super hard, he can take a video of him coming out with creative ways to use the bagels, like as a hockey puck or
No,
something
I would
like that.
almost
Go down, fucking couple slap shots with bagels or something. That'd be dope.
I would actually hope that they just don't deliver them because I just cannot imagine the creative power of Rosendogs, what he's going to do with those hard puck bagels.
Yeah, right.
I'm never going to hear the end of it.
I think two wants an education on bagels because he's thinking that bagels are cooked in water.
Yes, they are.
so
But they're boiled, then they're baked.
Exactly. So it's a two-step, right?
Yeah.
They have those big giant cauldrons and they boil them. I know they do cook them first in water, but then they do end up in the oven.
What's the point of boiling it first?
It makes the chewy on the inside. So the shorter the boil, the less chewy they are. The longer the boil, the more
Dave
chewy
giving
they'll
up
be.
the fucking secrets. That's
And
it.
if you really
Nugget.
want to get a good crisp on the outside of your bagel, you put a pan of boiling water in the oven.
Nugget. That was a
And
nugget.
when they
That was your
come
bagel
out-
nuggets.
Yeah, nugget. There you go. Come on.
We could transition the
I
show
just did
into a
it.
bagel show, actually.
Oh,
think
I didn't hear it. I was
We may get a
talking
lot
about
more
it.
listeners if we just talked bagels for like.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is there a bagel
Canna
podcast?
bagels?
Have you had? Is there a bagel podcast? It must be, right? There must be like.
There's a podcast on everything, Adam. Come on.
Okay, you don't listen to one? You don't listen to the bagel podcast? The bagel
No,
brothers?
I feel
or-
like it would screw me up. I just want to be me. I don't want to listen to anyone else and figure out how to be them.
I typed in the bagel podcast. It's the home of the Jewish magazine podcast for what's boiling up around the Jewish community.
There you
That's
go.
great.
There you go.
L'chaim, Mishbuka.
Yep.
No,
So that's,
no one
Is
else
that the only
speaks
one?
Yiddish?
Is that the only one?
That's all I.
No, there's like
the
10.
bagel report.
Bagel Report.
Oh wait, but it's pop culture entertainment podcast.
See?
They probably saw that name and said, "Why should I even start another bagel podcast? You fucked me over already. You got it."
I think we figured out your little thing. That you're way off
Mark,
the show.
reach
You're
out
way
to
off
them,
the
see if they
show.
need a co-host.
We finally got you off the show. It's perfect.
I'll produce your.
Hey
bagel
Dave,
show.
we got a perfect show for you. It's Dave's Bagel Hour. Dun 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 dun.
Dun 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 dun.
Dave's
dun.
bagel and random bread hour.
Yeah, rando.
I do make a good
All
bread
right,
too.
so it's 5 o'clock our time.
Pumpkin bread, maybe.
Pumpkin. Oh, look at him. Segue.
Oh, yeah.
So I haven't noticed a lot of, even though I put it in the description that it is pumpkin everything time, it seems like a lot less pumpkin action this year, doesn't it? Like I haven't heard the
Of
word
course.
pumpkin spice once. I don't think like no commercials, no
People are doing it in secret.
no one's pushing it anymore. It's all kind of
They don't
weird.
wanna be
Like
basic.
Parents don't want to talk about pumpkins because then kids are going to know Halloween is coming up and Halloween is canceled this year.
canceled. But is it officially canceled? I mean, I still see lots of candy being sold, so I don't see it, people stopping buying candy.
King Super is doing 50% off candy right now.
Oh
so
wow.
that can't be good for candy sales.
Interesting.
Okay. It usually happens after Halloween.
True, but
know?
I just noticed in general. I was thinking about it when I was writing the description. I was like, a lot less pumpkin. Like usually it's like pumpkin this and pumpkin that and pumpkins every fucking where. But having said that, every time I hear the word pumpkin, I always think of our guest coming on soon. Whenever he feels like coming on, I know he's listening in the wings, so I'll send him a text.
He checked in earlier.
I'll send him a
He
text
knows.
just so he knows in case he got all
That's
sidetracked.
see,
because you can get sidetracked.
that's what he said to do.
Yeah, because so
No,
again,
he said you have to send him a text.
I'm going to send him another one here. So we ready? But
Yeah, then I
anyway,
realized. Did you send him Did you send Rosendogs the glasses, Mark?
yeah, Mark.
No, how's it on me now? All of a sudden?
I thought about it. I can tell you that. I can tell you that you're getting more for your money's worth now. When you finally get these glasses, they have been thought about more often than any other pair of glasses you've ever owned. Like, I should probably send those. Fuck. But I live out in the middle of nowhere, so for me to come into, when I'm going to come into town, is then they're sitting here on the counter. So
Wait, this is a lesson I learned today. Is there a reason why you're not taking, handing them over to Mark, who actually is runs a shipping company? No.
Does he run a shipping company? I didn't know you ran a shipping company.
Well,
you going to put it in?
I'm trying to talk him up.
Wow. Touches boxes sometimes. Ron's on a
So
spaceship.
remember,
Ron's
Ron,
in. He's on a
Ron,
spaceship.
Turn that phone.
Ron was on some sort of anti-gravity thing going on
Yeah,
there.
that's crazy.
Whoa.
That was neat.
Welcome, Mr.
You were
Wallace. How are you
sideways.
doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. It's been a while. It's always once October kicks in, I'm like, shit, we got to get Ron on the show. And I hadn't talked to you for a while, so I was like, hopefully he's not in the trenches. It's a tough time to get you. This year seems a little quieter though than other years. What's going on in the pumpkin world?
Well, it's a little bit quieter this year. I think the weather overall, certainly on the East Coast, very, very hot, humid, and dry. Not good for pumpkins. Pacific Northwest, unfortunately, they had a lot of cloud cover and smoke from the fires that affected their weights, down the stretch, because they really rely on a good month of September.
Mm-hmm.
That's when they can put on a lot of weight. So I think the pandemic, a lot of serious growers kind of dialed it back a little bit because they felt at one point there was going to be no place to weigh them off this year. So
exactly.
Everybody it was just a little bit off this year. It didn't have the same feel for sure.
Well, it's
Some
actually
of the guys in the chat room wanted to know if you were speaking English, and I said yes, it's English, but with a Rhode Island accent. So we'll have Tommy come on and translate. If anybody doesn't understand what he's saying,
Subtitles.
Tommy from Fish Shit will come on later, maybe. And
yeah, he was excited. He was
use
like, Rhode Island guy. I was like, yes.
yeah,
People from Rhode Island are so excited about other people.
I can't help the accent. Nothing I can do about it.
that's quite all right.
No, we love it. We love it.
Absolutely.
But I guess it's actually better though than it's not a great year, maybe, because imagine if it was like the best year ever, and then you guys were all scared to come
Nowhere
together.
to sell your pumpkins.
You guys are all scared to come together to actually weigh them off. It's like, I'll just weigh it over here. It's like changes the vibe entirely, right? If you can't
Foot on the scale.
Well, we did actually drive-through weigh-offs this year, which, proper social distancing, the whole 9 yards. And we kind of weighed pumpkins for growers, and then we had to put them back on their trailer or truck, and unfortunately they had to leave.
Wow.
So it was a different vibe this year, that's for sure. And, prize payouts, I'd say probably 85-90% of the weigh-offs eliminated prize payouts because, sponsorship, they couldn't get the bang for the buck. 95% of our growers don't grow for money or awards, but, it does make it nice for some people to help, repay their efforts and more products for next year.
I mean,
What does a heavy pumpkin weigh?
What was that?
What does a pumpkin of weight go for? How big is if you want to compete, what do you got? Is it like me weight? Like 260 pounds, or
What's
is it like
what's the range?
95 pounds?
To win a Great Pumpkin Commonwealth weigh-off now in a really competitive climate area, you need to be 2,000 pounds or over, or it's probably not going to happen.
Shit. That's like 2 days.
That's like two. That's
At least 3 me.
It's 2 Daves and a bagel right there. Jesus. No, I know it has gone, and it's actually only in the last 10 years like that, or when did it get to that close? Because I know you guys only broke the 2,000 mark in the last 10 years, right?
Well, it was 2015. I grew the world's first 1,500-pound pumpkin at 1502, and then it took till 2012. I grew the world's first 2,000-pounder at 2,009 pounds. Wow. And then everybody figured, well, we're on to 3,000 pounds. And, here we are. Next year's 2021. The world record currently sits at 2624, and that's been that way for 4 years.
Is that still the European guys, or is that you?
Yes, yeah, it is.
Fuck.
And,
Fuck those Europeans.
Fuck
Europeans did great again. They did great again this year.
Did they?
Heaviest pumpkin in the world this year. 2 of them in Europe, over 2,500 pounds. They're tremendous growers and competitors. No jealousies. We can do it outdoors here in New England.
Little bit. Come on, you're from
the thing about the pumpkin community, unlike others, there's really no jealousies. Everybody works together. You're happy for each other. I mean, we're trying to push the hobby. We're trying to push soil. We're trying to do a lot of things. We really don't pick up a lot of people who are insanely jealous if somebody does well.
But is there a podcast?
Is
there a pumpkin podcast?
There's plenty of podcasts. There's plenty of everything. But, people love a giant pumpkin, especially this time of the year. I mean, we could do podcasts pretty much 7 nights a week, interviews, everything. People love a story, and in a year like this too, Giant Pumpkin brings a smile to a lot of people's faces.
It's the great pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
It's the feel good story for the guys. They're like, we need a feel good story. Hey, pumpkins. Fuck yeah, pumpkins.
Everybody loves pumpkins.
Are they consumed afterwards, or what happens to a 2,000? Is it food?
Well, they live a pretty good celebrity life afterwards. Giant Pumpkin over 2,000 pounds. If it's good looking, got a decent shape to it, there's a big aftermarket for them. You name it, casinos, hotels. Anybody who's looking to advertise.
Pumpkins are flying around in PJs, bro. They got their own PJ.
They send the jet.
They send the jet. It kind of goes up. Hey, would you like some?
They live a pampered life, and then a celebrity afterlife, and
then they get squished by like elephants, right? That's usually that's what I always see. The old elephant kicking the giant pumpkin around.
Give it a Gallagher.
Well, mine end up at the Jack-o'-lantern Spectacular in Providence at the Roger Williams Zoo, and we have a giant festival that goes on down there. Last year we got about 150,000 people through to see the event. This year it's a drive-through event. We've had some challenges, but that's where mine end up.
That's so crazy, right? Everything is now a drive-through. Everything.
It's kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Well, do the animals at the zoo? They can eat it, right?
Well, afterwards, these pumpkins are on display for so long that they're kind of broken down, but a lot of people do feed them to animals. Or they'll they'll display them in their yard. There's a million ways to use them, and believe me, people will call looking. I could have sold 40, 1,500, 2,000 pound pumpkins this year if I had them available. I exhausted all my friends. People just wanted to buy them.
What would they sell for if you could sell them?
A really good looking pumpkin delivered about $1.50 a pound. Average looking or slightly below average, around $1 a pound. It's. Like I said, most growers, they don't set out to do this for the money, but if they can put a little bit back in their pocket for their efforts and their
if you think about just,
and everything.
And is that like they have to pick it up themselves, or you guys deliver it for that price? Because that's kind of like, that would be the key to the whole thing. Is like, okay, it's $2,000, but you gotta move it. It's like when you buy that, the fucking lighthouse for $1 off of going over to Newport or whatever, and you're like, it's right there. It's $1, but you got to move it, and that's going to cost you $1 million.
It's like somebody who says, I have a shed I'm getting rid of. It's totally free. You just come get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just assemble it and take it.
Well, we deliver them, and most of the accounts that we go to will have the ability with a fork truck, because they're on a pallet, to get rid of it. And the farther away they want you to go, there's a couple of accounts that'll go $3 a pound delivered, and they're really good accounts, and they really want a really big, nice looking pumpkin, and thousands of people get their pictures with them.
Yeah, no, for sure. If you want it as a centerpiece or something, it can. Most people.
It's like Adam Dunn at a conference. All these people walking up to him.
Only if you're around, Dave, yelling my name every fucking 5 seconds. That's what.
The Messiah.
That's when people.
Is that Adam Dunn right there?
Exactly. It sounds very familiar. But yeah, it's a cool centerpiece, right? if you have that at some sort of like kids thing or some sort of festival or something like that, because most people haven't, can't even fathom that size of a fucking any kind of a plant, but
they stop traffic, that's for sure.
And so 2,000 pound pumpkin, because we talked about it on the other shows you've been on, so but basically it's about the same cycle as a cannabis plant, right? We're talking a little bit longer. It's what's your starting date is around March?
We actually start first week of April, and we'll do inside under some T5s for 15, 16 hours a day for a couple of weeks, and then we'll harden them off a bit, and they'll go right underneath greenhouses, outside third week of April, all by May 1st, and then it's on. Generally, our pollination is before summer solstice, so my key date is I like to be around the 15th of June to try to get a jump on the sun. Because as you know, the sun just start losing.
See, that's my birthday. It's a special day for those pumpkins, right? Perfect day. Middle day of the middle month. It's like right there. Boom.
That's the time to go. And then the pumpkin actually only grows for 90 to 100 days. If you can get more than 100 days out of a pumpkin, you've done well. Their cycle, their bell curve jumps up quick, and then it starts to it starts to slow down too.
And that's pretty much with cannabis too. I mean, you'll get some plants that go longer, but for the most part, 60 days is like a magic number. 77 days is another. Like we have these sort of like key time frames where it seems like it's like 49, 54, 63, 72, and then you get the crazy ones
So-
that go up like over, 14, 15 weeks, something like that. But those are just very far, most people can't grow those. It's too hard to keep the thing alive that long and without over fertilizing it or just, there's too many time frames for you to fuck it up.
Well, that's the key with us is we're trying to figure out, we have to maximize the sunlight, the days of growth, and get the weight early and push it to 120 days if we can. And that's through genetics, I think is, the hobby is kind of stalled. Everybody thought we were going to break right through and see tons of 2,500 pounders, and then we're on to 3,000. But the hobby's hit the ceiling a bit. And I think we got to go outside the box a little bit again here to figure out, is it technique? Is it setting fruit earlier? Is it getting the genetics better that they can grow longer? And I think that's where it is.
So what about CRISPR? Are you guys thinking about going along those lines and genetically just going for it? Like, fuck it, we're going for the 5,000 pound pumpkin because it can be done. Just it won't be natural. Anybody doing that?
Yeah. No, I know. Our genetics here, most of the people who are growing, as you know, we're self-taught and on the internet and stuff. It's kind of big times big equals bigger. And pretty much everything is, our soils are really ramped up organically. We're into the biologicals, as you know. It's about an 85% organic, 15% synthetic program most people are using, maybe a little less on the synthetics.
It's funny how that's about. It's very close to cannabis again too. Like a lot, like for the successful formulas, because most people, there are plenty of people running 100% synthetics and are getting okay results. But the people who are doing the stuff that has the flavor and all the hits all the bells and whistles are usually organic. But then they need that little push over the edge because without that synthetic sort of addition, then yields are harder to maintain, and you just kind of lose that little. It seems like there's that little bit of aggressive growth that you've kind of, you fail to sort of nail every time.
There's no doubt. I mean, we rely on soil mineralization, and it gets peak around the third week of June into mid-July when that soil's the right temperature and all that organic matter is just, is just churning it out. Mm-hmm. But then it's going to peak. If you have a pumpkin, a really good pumpkin now grows 50 plus pounds a day. And you want to hold that curve at the top as long as you can. And then when it starts what we call coming down the mountain a bit, you have to build up, and that's when you start tweaking in some synthetics because you got to hold it near the top as long as you can. And on the way down, it'll fall fast because later on in the season, say you get some heavy rain, we didn't have that this year, mineralization will slow. Mm-hmm. There's less food for microbes in the soil. So that starts to wind down. So, we find the successful programs are blending in because you need to stay up near the peak.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like you're at the mercy of the elements at this point too. And when you're at that peak point, 50 pounds a day, you're pretty much running a hose directly to the plant, or like a little insert. You can just screw it right onto it at this point because it feels like they'd be just taking it. I mean, you're obviously at this point doing all manual feeding, or are you ever when do you ever have a chance to relax on those times?
Well, you really don't. I mean, the watering is pretty intense. A giant pumpkin plant, most growers are growing about 800 to 1,000 square foot for one plant, and that will require anywhere between 80 and 150 gallons of water a day, depending on your type of soil. My sandy loam soil will require 125 gallons of water every day. I try to split the watering up, some late morning and then some late afternoon. Seems like that works the best. But, I have an over-the-top irrigation system. Also, I blend in 450 gallon tanks where I can I like watering by hand. I can put the water where I want, but I'm developing an under the canopy watering system, a little bit better than drip irrigation, I think, because I think I'm missing a lot of the fine hair roots. Mm-hmm. in the rhizosphere. I think I'm missing them with my overhead watering because the leaf will funnel all the water down the leaf axil right into the top taproot, and that's great. But what happens to all that other square footage where all those hair roots are like boiling out of the top of the soil? And it was so hot this summer, and I think if you don't get them damp and keep them hydrated, you're going to lose them fast. And I think they could be, responsible for adding more pounds per day. Maybe it's only 3 or 4 more pounds per day, but add that up 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on next. But irrigation systems for giant pumpkin growers a lot of them are very rudimentary, and some people have them very high tech with water probes and tell you the water moisture levels, and it's all over the place.
Yeah, Is it like one? It's like one. Like when I go to the pumpkin patch with my kids, it's all the pumpkins connected on like one vine. So you basically just kill off every other pumpkin, or you don't allow them to grow, so that the entire vine is devoting its energy to that one pumpkin.
Well, that's what you want to do. The pumpkin's a sink, and it's going to take the energy from every place. But generally, what we're doing, the competitive growers, you're setting generally one fruit on the main vine about 12 to 17, 18 foot out from where the seed was planted. And if that gets the size of a basketball, pretty much you're not letting anything else go on that plant, not even male flowers. You will just keep plucking off everything. You'll just keep training, your secondary vines and your main vines, sort of like how you guys train a plant. You know what you want to keep, to keep your buds big, keep your plant healthy. That's what we do. So a lot of times you can get knocked out of the competition on a plant very early, because if that pumpkin gets up to beach ball size and it just splits on you and you don't have anything else set on the plant, well, rip that plant out and you're on, you have to go down the line to something else. We roll the dice and swing for the fences, and that's the way it is, because I don't believe you can have multiple sets on a plant because you're diverting energy. And so you really got to kind of set it, forget it, and let's get it on.
That's definitely a lot of risk, because if you think about it, there's so many times where you have certain plants that start off slow and they finish off strong, or the other way around, where you're just like you look in the room and you're like, this is going to be the one, and at the end it just doesn't do it. It's like, so you really, luckily with pumpkins, I'm sure, because they grow so fast that you can probably gauge them pretty quickly. And I'm sure with your experience, it's not as difficult to pick out a winner from the batch. But I'm sure have you had times where you've been like literally just kicked, you fucked up on that selection, and for a fact that it was hindsight 2020 or something?
Well, definitely, because you want to pick the one that has a nice shape on it too, because there's certain shapes that will sustain growth and weight better than other shapes. So there's a little luck involved in that genetically too, because in our genetic lines, we don't get the consistency that you might see because of the weight and how much weight per day it's putting on. So, we kind of I like long pumpkins, not too tall and wide. They seem to carry the most weight, and that's a great shape to grow. But you have to be fortunate to get those shapes. So sometimes you can pick a wrong shape on a pumpkin set on a plant, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you just move on. And
yeah, they just kind of they're like the big ones that look like they melted or something. You get those shaped ones where you're just like, ruined.
Yeah, that happened to me this year. I had one of those shapes, and ended up being my biggest pumpkin. I pretty much got wiped out here in early August from that tropical storm. I had some really good stuff cooking, and I thought it was going to be a year where I could, be in the top 4 or 5 in the world. But unfortunately, a tropical storm rolls in. We really don't have the wind protection up to, for 60, 70 mile an hour winds. And the size of these pumpkin leaves there. Some of them are round as a bushel basket, and the leaf stalks are 2 to 3 foot in the air, and it just wiped out the plant. And so my biggest pumpkin basically sat for almost 7 weeks, and I think it ended up being 14th in the world at 2,054 pounds. And if I had sustained that plant throughout the prime growing season, I definitely was shorted, 200 to 300 pounds or more on that at least. But and then the second week of September, we got a heavy frost. We were down to 28 here, which is rare for us, but it's still so. any weight that was coming along just totally ended. So it was just a bad weather year too here.
That's a bummer.
So,
Well, hey, there's always next year.
so one thing we talked about on the show about you before is that your genetics have pretty much, your selection of genetics, I should say, has been, in the top winners somehow in some pieces of part of it. Have you, when you're breeding for traits? I mean, obviously, size is the most important thing, but what other traits are you looking for? I mean, that can sustain a big pumpkin compared to a normal one.
Well, that's a great question. And like you said, obviously we breed for size. But having said that, I'm starting to rethink my genetics that I want to look for some of these giant pumpkins that were growing on plants that have a shorter leaf stem. Some of my genetics grow some pretty tall leaves, big, hulking, tall, 3-4 foot tall leaf stems. They look great. They're a big solar panel for the sun, but you get the least little bit of wind or a windstorm, they're the first ones to get beat up and go down. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I need to start breeding, and there's plenty of other plants out there that have produced giant pumpkins where the leaf stems were quite a bit shorter, more compact. Maybe that in the Northeast that will sustain a bit more when, we get microburst thunderstorms all the time. So maybe I need to start breeding some plant genetics a little bit better. The plant can sustain the elements. So that I'm looking into. Shape is definitely one too. Like I said, I'm a shape guy, and I don't care how big the pumpkin is. If it has a terrible shape on it, I will totally stay away from it because that's only going to show up somewhere down the line. And so kind of trying to breed for a better plant. I won't plant a seed from somebody who's had a lot of disease issues. I try to stay away from that because, a lot of the stuff is carried over. I'm not worried about stuff on the seed itself because we do a light bleaching solution to clean the seeds, but you really can't clean what's going on the inside of seeds.
Sure.
And, there's a lot
and they're obviously susceptible to it in the first place. So you already know
exactly.
that they don't have resistance.
Yeah. Cucurbits are pretty tough because, a lot of our growers can't rotate, and cucurbits you should only grow like 1 year, 2 years in a row at max and then run to another area, they say. But if you have good biology and you're adding compost every year and you keep the good guys going, you can really, more good guys to fight the bad guys in the soil. That's how you can sustain, but they generally don't like to be planted in the same spot year after year.
Sure. And I saw, I was at your spot a couple years ago, and it was definitely a small footprint for what you're doing, considering you're talking thousands of square feet per pumpkin, and then it wasn't like you were on some vast, huge farm by any means. But the soil was amazing. That was one thing I can say. You could definitely tell, like as you walked around, you could just feel that soil was like, and it, like you said, you could put your hand right into it, stick it in the soil. It wasn't like, out here you'd be like, all right, give me. It's a lot more clay. But this was like beautiful, soft soil. But did you? But you still have to move it around. That makes sense for anybody to not over farm anywhere, and just to maintain a small area and be highly productive. It's learning how to. That's one of the main things I think that the difference between conventional farming and regenerative farming, which is pretty much where you're sort of in the same realm, right?
Yeah, well, a lot of our growers, they take really good care of their soils too. Pretty much everybody cover crops. And right now I got a nice fall cover crop of winter rye on there. Adding any composted, I will not add anything to my soil unless it's been fully composted. I've learned from those mistakes. So we'll put it on in the fall, and not to put too much, and, work everything in the soil. Don't overwork the soil. Don't work a soil that's wet. And, get a good cover crop on. Cover cropping is very important for all farmers to be doing, holding the nutrients in place, disease suppression, that allelopathic effect that, cover crops have on microorganisms.
For sure. And
we had a suggestion from somebody in the chat room, so maybe you can grow your pumpkins even bigger by grinding up some bagels and putting them in your water.
Dave's a bagel. Dave is a big bagel guy, so.
Or you cross your seeds with one of Adam's genetics and see if you can't make some mutant psychedelic pumpkin. Because
plenty
that
of
would be
people.
something.
Believe me, there's plenty of people out there who grow both Adams genetics and pumpkins, and I've seen it all. So there's plenty of that going around here in the Northeast.
For sure.
Yeah, but if I ate a psychedelic pumpkin, then I wouldn't, I'd skip a step. I get my pumpkin and my stone all in the same meal.
Hey, you never
I've got a
know.
lack of pumpkin spice lattes on the market right now that nobody wants to. I mean, are you seeing that basically because we're all in quarantine, that there's sort of like people aren't sort of flocking to the pumpkin patch anymore because there's too many people there, and then nobody wants to put a pumpkin out because nobody wants to remind their kids that maybe Halloween might be canceled this year. Who the hell knows? And
Well, I can tell you, I've seen it the other way because I'm always noticing. I would always say, to me, seeing a pumpkin on a doorstep is Americana. I love seeing, I've always been a pumpkin guy, and seeing seeing a family with a pumpkin on the doorstep brings back a lot of memories. And I've seen more of them this year. And I said to myself, wow, it's back. I think people have made their treks out to their local farms. And I see plenty of pumpkins on people's doorsteps this year. And it's a really nice thing to see.
That's awesome. I got two
East
myself
Coast,
right
East
here.
Coast has always been more is a little more festive, I think, when it comes to the seasons too. It always has that vibe. Here a little bit, definitely in the West Coast not so much because you just don't have that change of the seasons. You don't have the trees. It's a combination of all the above, right? When the leaves turn and the pumpkins are starting to come out, and then after the fact, it's a bunch of dead pumpkins on people's things, and they're all mushy looking and look terrible. And then who's like, then you pumpkin shame people as you go by because they're lame. They've left that pumpkin out till it's just a decrepit mess.
What's good though is Rhode Island's had a nice program the last few years of recycling, and a lot of those pumpkins with the yard waste and stuff. Rhode Island does a great job with Class A compost. I got to tip my cap to them. They've been front runners with it. So a lot of those pumpkins that used to get tossed away that look ugly like that are all getting composted now. So
Nice.
Makes you feel pretty good about that too.
For sure.
There you go.
Yeah, same with the Christmas trees. It's like the Christmas tree situation too. Whenever you see that, once you got dead ones out, but now that people are figured out that hey, there's money in everything, right? There's money in the trash.
That's something this year has taught everyone is to figure out some new side hustle. There's no throwing anything away. You can't even find a ball jar right now, to can.
It's
so
true.
people
It's true,
are really getting into the.
I bought three boxes because it was like the first time I could see some. Like I've been into like so many places. Like really, I'd go in and then they'd laugh at me. I go, "You guys got any ball jars or something?" They'd just be like, "Are you kidding me right now?" I'm like, they're just like, "What?
We sold out of those in toilet
Are you
paper a
tripping?"
couple of months ago.
I go down, I look in the aisle, and there ain't nothing except for like a couple little weird food saver products that are little side hustle thing, little side bits that you don't need. So what are you going to do for next year? What's your plans? You got any kind of like changing it up? Like,
Yeah, well, what I'm
this year was kind of shitty.
Yeah, I'm gonna plant less. I think less is more. I've always done. I used to do 8 plants, and then I went to 6. I was 5 this year, and I think I'm gonna narrow it down to 3 because my goal is one big giant pumpkin. I don't need to go to 3 or 4 different weighoffs. Mm-hmm. My goal is one, and I always shoot for the world record. So I figure if I focus my energy on less, I'll be more sharp. Not as tired, spend the same amount of time and effort, but really have a critical eye on every stage along the way, not rushing as much, which will hopefully, increase yield. So I think that'll certainly, I think that'll help. It'll help me because it gets to be a bit much with, a business, a giant garden, a small orchard, pumpkins. So I got to dial it back a little. I think that's going to help me. I did a few things this year that I saw some promise that I can do next year. But you got to get the right seed. And, when you're only growing 3 or 4 pumpkin plants, there are, super seeds that, when you're grabbing a seed out of a pumpkin, and there's 300-400 seeds in a pumpkin, there are a small percentage of those seeds in there that will outperform everything else in those seeds. And that, you got to get a little lucky too, to grab one that has the ability to make that jump to light speed.
And is there any identifiers that over the years that you kind of figured out, like size of them or shape or anything like that?
No, well, if I'm going to grow a seed, I have to have multiples of it to start. I will, if I only have one, I won't start it to plant it because, I've been stuck for years. Like, I really want to plant this because it grew a record pumpkin last year. And if it starts off as a dog, I've always found for me, they never made it. They never made the full ability of what they could be. Like you said, there's certain markers we know at day 30, day 45 of a pumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not cruising or you're not such an estimated weight, it's not going to happen. So if I plant multiples, you can tell by, I can always tell if I double plant and they're in the ground for a couple of weeks, if there's a dominant one, it's generally going to start distancing itself, and you can make a decision and cut one out.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, wouldn't you want to save all your single? Like, say you got a single with single. They all got they all have the potential. You don't want to. I understand what you're saying. Like, it sucks to only have one, but at the same time, if you put them all against each other and then only select one out of all of those ones, I mean, it gives you some selection. It may not be from the same batch, but I mean, at the same time, those are because I have the same problem. I have a shitload of bags with one seed in it, where I'm just like, what's the point? But I don't want to throw it away too. I can't throw it away. It's just, there's no way you're going to throw that one away. So you do you have a lot of those single seeds?
I do. But the thing about our hobby,
I'll take those single seeds. No.
The thing about our hobby is seeds, a really hot seed, a really good seed everybody wants to plant, has about a 4-year run to max out what it's going to max out. If you haven't seen, generally by the end of the 3rd or 4th year, it's maxed out the biggest it's going to grow. And we're all on to another seed because I always believe that genetics are moving forward. Mm-hmm. And if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards because, obviously we're breeding for something different, pretty much size. And in our hobby, it's like you really couldn't take seeds from 10 years ago
right,
and think you and think you could compete on a world level.
Gotcha.
I think you could grow a hell of a lot better pumpkin than you could grow 5-10 years ago because of technique and different things that we're doing now. But you wouldn't be able to compete with, with the seeds that are out there now. It just won't happen.
And so so nobody's buying old seeds, basically, is what you're saying. Everyone's just like, fuck that. But the new seeds. So when somebody pops up onto the scene, and you're like, holy shit, that guy's getting close to 2,500 or whatever number that stirs your imagination. How much would people be willing to buy those seeds for, in general?
Well, a couple $100 for one seed for a really top, genetic producer. In our hobby, we sell seeds at auctions so our pumpkin clubs can raise money to sustain weighoffs and ribbons and stuff like that. I mean, I sell some seeds on my website, but I give away more seeds than I sell because it's about giving back.
Sound like Adam.
Hobby.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the case, right? That is the case. But no, in general, I think. So what's the most you heard? What's the most people have paid?
I think one of my seeds went for a little over $500 once, my 2009, a few years ago.
For single seed. And people buy, but people are people buying, like, I mean, I would assume they buy at least a couple, right? They're not going to buy just one, or they just buy.
Just generally just one. I mean, $7,500 for seeds. People want to buy 4 or 5. But to be honest, like I said, I do sell some seeds. I give away more than I sell, but I do try to tell people who are just getting involved. I really don't want them spending that type of money on a seed. Because 9 times out of 10, they're going to be disappointed because they haven't learned germination yet. They haven't learned the technique of pruning. They haven't learned the watering. I would rather have people start with some basic genetics that they could grow. I mean, this grower is growing pumpkins 700 to 1,200, 1,500 pounds their first year out because they're good gardeners, because they've studied, because the information's out there. But to start out with a really good seed and spend a lot of money, if you don't have that success right away, I find a lot of people just quickly dump the hobby and move on to something else. Generally, you don't get success your first few years. It takes a little bit of time.
How many professional pumpkin growers you think, or I say professional, or just how many people out there you think this is their day-to-day
hobbyists?
Worldwide
enthusiasts.
I would say thousands all over the world. I really can't put a number out, but Europe is huge. In the United States, obviously, and there's just more and more and more every year. You go in a box store and you see giant pumpkin seeds on there. There's 3 or 4 bigger companies now that are selling them in there. All those racks were sold out this year. So, there's a thing about, a family sitting around, they see a pumpkin, let's go plant a few in a hill. If they get a 30, 40 pound pumpkin their first year, they're hooked. It's a great activity families do together. It keeps kids' interest because when a pumpkin starts growing, it grows kind of fast and they get excited.
Sure.
So the hobby saw a big influx of people this year, like all gardening
I think I was going to say all garden. Yeah, exactly. All,
Yeah, right.
Across the board, people have finally realized like growing their own food not only is fun, healthy, but it's also may become fucking mandatory at some point because if you really want to have that selection and be able to guarantee you're not going to an empty supermarket at some point, because we've all kind of experienced that on a minor scale and seen how, maybe it was only toilet paper, but we still kind of got to see we got to get the vibe like, holy shit, they don't have, and if it was tomorrow, if it was, potatoes and milk and the basics of, what people are going to the supermarket for, if they couldn't get that, may have to start getting their own cows and getting their own, growing their own fruit and vegetables.
And learning how to fast.
Well, people want to know where their food comes from, and that's a big thing you hear all the time because of all this, the scares and what's going on. And just a couple of small raised beds, you'd be surprised how people can sustain through the summer. Multiple crops of lettuce, early spring, late fall. You could take a 50-gallon drum and cut it in half, put holes in the boughs. You can grow probably 50, 60 pounds of Yukon Gold potatoes in there. I've done it myself plenty of times. So just some small raised beds, and there's nothing like, eating your own vegetables or putting them up. And, I saw a huge amount of that this year from people.
Yeah.
I'm a grim reaper of growing things, and I even had a garden outside this summer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I told people in the beginning of this whole bullshit situation that maybe it's time to take a part of your garden and devote it to some food, because if we all got our grow rooms and there's usually a 10 to 20 square foot area that you could start with and get a little bit of get a benefit out of your spot besides your cannabis, because I mean we all are very self-sufficient when it comes to that, but we still have to go out and get our food, so it's always good.
Doesn't take much space to grow some, yellow squash, green squash. Really, you don't have to I always tell people, don't overplant. Less is more. I mean, for, a couple of people living at home, a couple of kids, 3-4 tomato plants, you'd have all the tomatoes you could possibly eat.
Right. Yeah, and it's just it's so satisfying when you do it. It's just the same as with like everybody who listens to the show who's grown cannabis and things is like, the first time they smoke their own weed that they grew themselves, they're already high before they've even like lit the thing. They're just rolling it and they're getting all of that from it. And with food is the same thing. I mean, it's awesome. You have the anticipation of watching it grow. With things like lettuce and stuff too, it's nice because it's quick enough that you don't have to, get to that point where you lose interest or something. But you can get and every time once it's rolling, it's all of a sudden you have too much. You know what I mean? You're like, damn, we got a lot of veggies to eat tonight. But it's the good thing.
Yeah, basil.
And
number one
pickling.
thing growing in gardens is basil and tomatoes. That's a two thing the home garden will grow. They love it. They enjoy it. And it's very, very easy to grow. I mean, it's like I said,
and they complement each other. They're both, you put them, you're going to use them together. And, it's definitely, especially like tomatoes, because both of them you can can or you can make pesto. That's what's also nice is that people get used to, once you get to that point where you have too much of one thing, you have to start thinking about how you're going to preserve it. And that's actually a whole other actual sort of hack in life where you can get to the you're actually getting the benefits out of it that you didn't even realize because you're always going to the store and buying it. Canned tomatoes, things like that.
Yep. No, it's definitely, like you said, it's a great feeling when people are harvesting their own stuff and eating it and enjoying it. We saw, it was tremendous amount this year. And I think for the future, I don't think it's going back. I think once again, people want to know where their food's coming from, and they like getting their hands dirty. And you know, it was
Well, it's also
definitely
nice.
something you could do at home.
Yeah, it's also nice when you go over to someone's house and you bring them whatever you grew, and then when they come over to your house, they bring you whatever they grew, and hopefully, you're all growing a little bit different vibe things, and it's super nice.
No, it is super nice.
So what's going on with the Wallace? Wow, your mail order's going good. Everything's kind of. I mean, you were starting to crank out when you were on the show last time.
Yeah, we were blessed this year to have a great following, and I'd like to thank your following and your supporters. We were very, very, very busy this year, and we had difficulty like everybody else maintaining inventory levels at times, and the shipping. I mean, like you were saying, you couldn't get ball mason jars. There was a time there where I couldn't even get boxes this summer. I was wondering if I had a box to put stuff in, because boxes were out of stock with everybody. Manufacturers were out of stock on containers that things went in because everybody was using boxes for sanitizer and things.
Right.
We had challenges of a growing small business this year, and we worked really hard, the team, and we made it through, and learned a lot of lessons, and it was very enjoyable, and people are enjoying the product, and they're growing vegetables, cannabis, hemp, you name it. They're growing it. It's great to see the emails and people enjoying and using the product, and we were blessed this year. We had a very good year.
Did you manage to get any plants growing this year? Because I know you had a couple years ago. You had a few, but did you have any this year?
I had them started and given to me this year, and I turned back around and gave them to my cousin and said, I'm just over my head this year. I can't. I tell you, I did the 5-gallon bucket challenge with some friends a couple of years ago on cannabis. You could grow more cannabis in a 5-gallon bucket for the casual smoker. Like most of the people around here, it's 1 or 2 a day or here and there. With the genetics and how as potent as it is, you would have plenty out of that 5-gallon bucket. You wouldn't have to buy any for quite a while.
Not on this show.
Yeah.
I mean, well, maybe Mike Denver after last week, because it was the first time he smoked
my
grass,
whole,
but
my whole thing is when I think of 5-gallon bucket, I'm thinking like a 5-gallon bucket of weed, not growing in a 5-gallon bucket. But as long as it fills that 5-gallon bucket at the end, then we're good. Then that's about
there's a big subculture out there, 5-gallon bucket growers. There's millions of people who just want to grow enough cannabis for themselves, and it's not on a large scale. It's just for themselves, and they kind of, they're doing it in a 5-gallon bucket or even smaller, and they thoroughly enjoy the results and everything. And then obviously this large scale, but I'll get back to it. I'll get back to it next year because I'm scaling back the garden and a few other things. I've brought on some more help to help with the business, sort of in admin, some help with social media, some help with packing and stuff like that. Because, what I found is, working 6 a.m. till 9:30 at night, 7 days a week catches up to you. It was a lot, so had to bring on some help, and it was a great move. And everybody's working out and working hard. So,
yeah, that's why cannabis is good. In those long days, that's the best thing to be growing, because you get to partake in your own wares at that point. So it's like, oh, finally, this is what the shit's for. That's the only part of the pumpkin part that I think would be sad for me, is that it's like you're growing these competitive pumpkins that are so big, but at the same time, you don't get to really, if you win, who cares? At that point, it's like fucking, it's over the moon, right? So it's 100% worth it. When you don't win, it's like now you got this fucking 100 pounds shy of the record, or 100 pounds shy of the win, big massive thing, and it's like, ugh. But I guess, like you said, you get to put them on the road and send them in PJs around and.
Well, there's a pretty good high that growers get from growing these all year long, and there's growers who send me pictures with it. They're sitting out there all times of day and night, partaking in a lot of activities, watching the pumpkin grow, or sitting there at night, or harvesting and weighoffs. So we can get a bit of a buzz from them too.
Oh no, I get it. For sure you do. But then it's just that even with the worst run with cannabis, it's like at least you know you got yourself. Like it's like, well, this totally fucked up, but I won't even show anybody this. But I'll just burn it in some small controllable fires, slowly over time, and sort of start over again.
Sure.
Did you ever try any of the fish shit from our other sponsor from
Your
from
fellow
Tommy?
Rhode Islander?
From Tommy he's from Rhode Island. Yeah, that would be some interesting to see if that would help you.
No, I'd like to hook up with Tommy, and I never have, but I would certainly would like to. It's something that is.
Hold on a second. Let's see if we can get Tommy to call.
Yo,
in.
you're on it. Okay, good.
And
I was
then
about to say.
Oh, there we go. We'll get Tommy to jump in on the call. And then we will definitely need to have subtitles at that point because everyone will be like, whoa. Then they started talking and we all just
so
sat-
just so you know, guys, you can engage the subtitles on YouTube. So go ahead and you get them ready because I'm catching every fourth word right now.
let me hold on. Let me pull.
I'm
up.
a New Yorker. I have to make fun of your accent. It's it's just as you make fun of mine, I'm sure.
Well, you can play it back after. You'll catch it. I'm trying to be slow and clear. So
Not necessary. You're very eloquent speaker. Trust me, we've had far worse on the show.
How many interviews?
Usually
you were
it's me.
saying that you could go on podcasts every day. Have you done any big shows? Like, 'cause I know you were on the Today Show and all those kind of things when you were doing your big wins.
What about Joe Rogan?
yeah, they go for the largest in the world.
Has to be the winner.
And
I know you're not. You're
if
just
you're not the winner, but I do get pretty much every day somebody from the AP will call want to do a story or some AARP, you name it. Everybody's called.
AARP, come on.
Yeah, hey, you get to be 55 now. They want to do a story on you. So you name it. This time of the year, everybody kind of calls looking for a story on a giant pumpkin. Especially during these times where people are sick of the political bullshit.
Oh yeah, you got the perfect. This is the perfect moment for the feel good story. They're like, feel good story. Pull that fucking guy Ron again.
Roll that beautiful
that
pumpkin
guy.
footage.
That guy Ron knew what he was talking about. No, I know because I got to, and it was awesome when I flew into Rhode Island and I saw your thing still up. It's like it's still up there, right? They haven't taken that down. You're still like as
I'm
you
still
enter.
hanging in the airport.
As you enter into the airport, there's this big giant thing. World record holder Ron Wallace, and you and your dad are both there, right?
Yes,
it's awesome.
me and my dad. My dad broke my record the year after I did, and
Son of a bitch.
So they thought the tourism said, hey, let's welcome people to Rhode Island. We're the Ocean State, but did you know, we're also good at something else here. So it was amazing. I mean, there's so many people at one time, obviously not this year, would pass through that airport and they'd take a picture and they'd text me and say, hey, saw you that is smack dab right in the airport where all the traffic comes through. So it was pretty cool.
Well, that would be a good spot to have like the pumpkin sort of retire at the end of its life, is find like that terminal that everybody walks past. You have an airport in Rhode Island, right? I mean, or do you have to drive to another state to fly out?
No, we got one in Wallace, sure. Yeah.
Everybody, we have stuff like that here in Colorado. You walk down this hall and you see this history of Colorado, of what they think that pumpkin would be the perfect thing.
Ron so he's going to call. Tommy's going to call in a minute. He was. We caught him 3 sheets to the wind. He said, so that's perfect. I was like, yes, it's exactly what.
Sweet.
Like, I just smoked a giant joint. I was like, that's exactly what we need. So he's gonna get to his computer in a second and link up.
He's not jumping out of a plane or anything like that. He's been known to skydive and try to call in.
You into skydiving? Are you into skydiving, Ron?
No, I kind of live a boring life. Pumpkins. It's pretty much pumpkins and mycorrhizal fungi and.
Has anybody skydived with a pumpkin before? I don't think so. With the giant pumpkin.
I don't think that's happened. I mean,
escape from the giant pumpkin. This is a whole new thing. Whole new deal. Come on.
Yeah, people
drop the pumpkin before
just
you
to see the pumpkin hit the ground would be that'd be tremendous, right? And that'd be like.
Oh, you can find that stuff all over YouTube. There's people dropping them from cranes and
not from airplanes.
Pools.
Not from airplanes, though.
Nah, I kind of like cranes. So.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely squished a few, I'm sure, over the years. What was the craziest thing ever that they've done that you've seen?
my buddy was on a David Letterman show, and they filled it up with plastic explosives and blew it up about 10 years ago. That was pretty cool.
Nice.
They did that.
Was that on the Stupid Pumpkin Tricks special segment?
Yeah.
Or was that Stupid Pet Tricks? I don't know.
I forget which one it was on. That was good though. That was pretty good. I mean, I saw another buddy of mine was on a late night show, and that one of those giant trucks ran over it and smashed it up. It was when Conan O'Brien had a show. He was on there, and he kind of, ran his Ford truck over it. That was pretty cool. Like I said, they have regattas where people carve them out and they go down a river in them.
Wow, that's cool. And I like
a lot
that.
of festivals.
I like that.
You could toboggan in one in Colorado. We can carve it out and just go down the hill, make it a sled.
I'm sure it's happened, but no brakes. That'd be like the Flintstones coming down a hill with 1,000 pounds or more. That'd be kind of tough, trying to stop.
That'd be great. You have the weight behind you and everything. It'd be like a train at one point. Couldn't stop it. Unstoppable pumpkin train until it hit.
Yeah.
Train.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. They float though with a pumpkin like that. Float?
Yeah, they do. They float like a cork. Wow. I mean, you can, like say, go on YouTube. You'll see them. There's plenty of video of people rafting with pumpkins and stuff like that.
That's cool. I like it. We could definitely. We should do like a demolition derby one where you mount it onto like a Tesla. Those Tesla. They have the flats that they have the big metal. Just drop that bitch on there and strap it in.
Yes. Sort of like a soapbox derby. That'd be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Now we're talking.
Go down College Hill in Providence. That'd be fun.
Now we're
get a bunch of drunk college kids to partake in it.
Yeah. Everybody can use some excitement now.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
Damn Skippy.
Yeah, just hoping things sort of get back to normal here soon. It's been tough on everybody,
That is the truth. It's just around the corner, right? We're rounding the corner.
Yeah, well, we hope so. I mean, I certainly missed going to summer concerts this year. I'm a music guy, and that was a big void this year.
Who's your music?
I love 70s music. So I'm into
Simon and Garfunkel.
No, something. I love Led Zeppelin. You name it, Grand Funk, Kiss. I mean, I can even dabble in some old disco too. I'm a 70s music guy, so anything in that wheelhouse is kind of what I listen to. But
you just won Mark over. Mark's in love with you now. He's a bassist and a musician, and he's been known to thump the mean disco beat.
And a disco freak, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love all that stuff. But
that's a huge thing right now. I think though. So a band I used to follow years ago was Dark Star Orchestra. They used to recreate Grateful Dead shows from history, and they just started playing again. They're playing, big venues where people stay in their cars, or they're playing a venue somewhere where everyone can socially distant, and they're going to stream it over the internet. I think that's what it is. We're going to have to put your Oculus on, and you'll go to the concert that way, for a little while anyway, and then we'll figure out a way to get back to hugs and, bumping shoulders with somebody in middle seats on planes.
Let's hope so for 2021. I mean, every concert was canceled this summer, so all the tickets are carried over. So let's hope that
it's gonna be a fucking mess, dude. When things actually start again, it's gonna be because I don't think it's gonna go ever back to 100% normal, at least for the next few years. Where so they're gonna be change. Can you imagine how complicated it already was at the fucking gates? Like when you got there and they're like, oh, everything's slowed down to a crawl, and then you had to get through the fucking thing, and then once you get in, you're cool. That's gonna be taken to the next. I mean, it's gonna be like just stretched out. You're gonna have to stretch people out for so far just to keep it safe, and I don't know. It's gonna be weird.
You'll have a reservation to get online to go into the place. Like your ticket will say the concert's your seat is here, but you have to show up at 3:45 to get in line, and then we're gonna work you in.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be
right
weird
now.
for sure.
What I've seen so far is they sell tables. You have to get like 8 friends and buy a table, and then you sit at the table. And that's how they're doing it right now. That's how like the clubs and all that stuff are kind of doing it right now. That's from what I've seen.
Yeah, that's.
I think there's far greater hope for there being outdoor concerts way before anything happens inside anymore.
It was funny.
I think you're gonna.
Because a guy was hitting me up. And I thought that he was hitting me up to like DJ. I was like, dude, I haven't DJed in years. He's like, no, I have a table to go see this DJ if you want to like come sit at my table. So I thought it was strange.
Yeah, I mean, it's some of it is. I mean, it's definitely strange because you imagine like thinking about it as from a promoter's point of view, how much space a fucking table takes up, right? And then you're looking at like how much area you have, and you're just like, really? So we're gonna take it from this, where you could just jam everybody in and have a real show, to like 8, and start adding it all up, and it's gonna. I mean, it's got to be at 50% capacity, probably max, right? So.
50% capacity, maybe even less than that, but a tenth of their sales
Booyah.
because no one can drink. You're not going to sell food or anything. Oh, finally, Tommy,
we have
I
half-
haven't understood a word.
I had a missing dog scenario. My 6-pound Pomeranian disappeared. She was playing with the bunny in some corner of my house. We couldn't find her. I apologize. My girlfriend just.
Half of Rhode Island's on the fucking show right now. Look at that.
No, right.
No, there's
I
12
say
people
hi.
in Rhode
Ron,
Island.
I've never met you, but I had a grow shop just on the Mass Rhode Island border, and I've been in,
Wait a
around
minute,
this-
never met him, Tommy. You guys live on the same block.
Nice to meet you.
I know. It takes us coming on this show for two guys like 30 miles away from each other to meet each other.
I know. Well, we're a lot closer now. I'm happy to say, Ron, what do you like, Wyoming, Richmond area?
I'm in Green, Western Coventry, right in the Eastern Connecticut line.
Cool. All right.
I understood
we're in Rhode
Connecticut
Island.
in
Nothing's
that word.
far away.
Yeah, nothing's that far in Rhode Island. It's a half hour to everybody.
Yes, sir.
Their accents are going to go batshit now that
Now
they're
you have
talking
to.
to
Now
each
you have
other.
to do the Rhode
Oh,
Island
it's
thing.
gonna come out.
Now you got to do the Rhode Island thing. And what school did you go to? What year did you graduate? And then you can calculate. Like, I know your sister's brother's cousin. Hey, you know him. It's kind of like that. Always,
Holy shit, Dad!
Right.
Is
right.
that you?
I wonder if we can go below 1 degree of separation, right? Everybody knows everybody here.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Don't speed a ticket.
And then if you bring the cannabis into the mix, it makes it even smaller. And if you bring the pumpkins into the mix, it makes it even fucking smaller than that. So there you go. Like,
Yeah,
I-
pumpkins crushes it. That brings it down to like a finite level.
Yeah.
What did I miss? I'm jumping in late. I'm glad to.
we talked
thanks-
mostly about you.
nothing.
Mostly about you, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah, it was all about you. No, but I.
Ron, repeat everything you were saying so Tommy can translate for us.
Listen, I'm
Take up an hour.
fascinated by the giant pumpkin world. I've got a couple buddies that they grow giant everything, right? And I saw a pumpkin in the back of a small, like old school Ranger. Buddy sent me a picture. He's sitting on. I was like, dude, that's amazing. He's like, that ain't shit. Compared to what's out there. He was like 600-700 pounds, and we started. It's funny, Ron. We just had a conversation about you. My buddy's a vegetable grower up in Vermont. They're his pumpkin, squash, zucchini. And he's like, yeah, I don't even know what these guys do. They're just absolute gurus.
Oh, they give their pumpkin steroids, he said. He said he actually was feeding his pumpkins ground up bagels, if you can believe it or not. And they
Listen,
just
there's
got bigger.
nothing
and
I
bigger
bulk
and
them up.
bigger.
Bulks them up.
So when I owned my shop, right, I had this guy that came in. God forgive me, I don't remember the guy's name. He was a really good dude. And he would go from grow shop to grow shop to grow shop. And Ron, maybe you can tell if this is a myth or not, right? He would go and buy different nutrients and different products from different grow shops. And half of them he wasn't using because he didn't want anybody to be able to identify
Sounds like
exactly
Cam.
what
This
he was
sounds
doing.
like Cam. This sounds like Cam, doesn't it?
That is.
That's
that
Cameron?
could be-
That's
could
true.
be-
That's true. They would come in and buy useless shit they didn't need. And I'm like, I wonder what was he's giving that to? Because it's like it's
Tommy,
kind of like like a
100%.
mafia guy parking in a garage, jumping in a car, driving out so no one knows what the recipe is.
Tommy, do you
That's
know?
totally
you know
Cam.
the spectrum. You know the spectrum. They say if you cross this line, you're on the spectrum.
Tell my
yeah.
brother he's on it every day.
Cam is
guy. Super
way
smart. He's on the spectrum.
miles over on the other side. Okay.
Yeah.
A
But he
pumpkin
takes his
savant.
pumpkin seriously. That's for sure. No,
Very
and you're
serious.
100% correct because I've seen I saw his list. I think he used every fucking item that you think he didn't, but I'm pretty sure he did because his list of products. I was like looking at it and I was like, this is like 4 different crops in one. And he's like, oh, dude, I just, he was pounding it with some amazing amount. I think he spent 10 grand on a pumpkin or something like that, right? In the end, it was ridiculous.
In nutrients.
Just in
Hey,
nutrients.
what was the virus that hit back in? I want to say it was either 17 or 18. Was it like yellow vine or something vine? There was like a. What was that?
That was yellow vine disease, and that pretty much comes from a squash bug that's infected with the vector. And once they lay on the leaf and the plant, and they're like aphids. They like to suck the juices out of leaves, and as soon as they pierce that leaf, tissue, it spreads yellow vine, and that was a problem that we thought. I had that once on one plant. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem. They say you can't. Doesn't matter what you spray, what you do.
It's over. It's
done. We thought for sure that could be the end of pumpkin growing in New England. Now, knock on wood, last couple of years, that seemed to have gone away a little bit. So I won't
ask you what the secret is.
Yeah, we don't know
Bagels.
either. But we thought that could have been the giant pumpkins in New England.
Well, you have to try some of Tommy's fish shit on your pumpkins because that could be that missing link, that thing that sends you over the edge.
I'd love to get you on a sample to try, bud. I'd love to get you. I've been trying to get a sample in your hands for a while. I'm like, how do I get in touch with this guy? I'm not like the most like forward. I'd love to get you a sample. So
look what you did, Adam. Look at that.
Now, wait a second.
All these
Don't
years
use
they've
that,
been trying
Ron. Don't use that. Don't use that product, Ron.
All these years.
Tommy, love
awesome.
to get together. I'd say, we do it later this fall and winter. Let's network and sit and talk about it.
Yeah, buddy. I'd love to meet you, especially because we're from Rhode Island. And I've heard a bunch about you over the years. Like I said, I had your guys coming into my shop to buy various components that they may or may not use.
Yeah.
Wait, I have this theory that if you both go outside on your porches right now and yell, "Hey, Ron," and you yell, "Hey, Tommy," you're going to hear each other. So you'll know
I'm
where
pretty
each
sure we
other
can
live.
put cups together, bro. Listen, I'm heading out to Missouri this week, right? And I'm going to Missouri. So Missouri, I tell you guys all the time about Oklahoma, I love it. So I'm going out to Missouri, and I'm landing in St. Louis on Tuesday, and I leave on Thursday. So it's a quick trip in and out. Fortunately, flights are back to normal. But when you look at the stores in New England, and they're like, and the grows and the facilities, they're like right here. You go to Missouri, I thought Oklahoma was big. It's huge.
Really?
It's crazy. Oh, amazing. I can't imagine living in a place like Missouri as opposed to Rhode Island. I'll put a cup out my window any day. Ron, can you hear me? Ron?
When you live in Rhode Island, I think it's tough to go live somewhere else. It's
unless it's the West Coast of Florida.
Yeah,
you go to Florida. Everybody from Florida is someplace else.
Yeah.
I was trying to get Ron to go skydiving with you, Tommy, but he wasn't.
I jumped yesterday.
Did
I
you?
jumped yesterday out over the Berkshires. I was out.
You look
so
good.
I've got
You
this
look for
amazing-
you look good for a guy who hit the ground at 35 miles an hour again. Did you manage to
Dude,
land?
my butt looks amazing. Did I send you the pictures? Dude.
No, I didn't see your butt pictures yet.
Let me tell you something. So I was fresh out of that pile driver, and let me tell you something. Based on the last show I jumped on with you, that podcast.
Yeah.
I was coming home. I don't know where I was, Oklahoma. I was listening to it. It was making my palms sweat. Amazing. I had to stop. I was like, I can't listen to this right now. But yeah, we did some jumping yesterday. It was pretty fun. We jumped over the Berkshires, which everybody knows Amherst. Great community out there. I was actually once a month, I get the luxury of driving out to this amazing grow called Mass Grow in Athol. And I deliver them a barrel of fish shit. I try and convince their head grower to jump. He tells me no every month, and he tells me next year, and I'll get him. I try to get everybody to jump with me.
See, Ron,
I
I
got the next
told
flight guys coming in this weekend.
Ron's
weather
going.
permitting.
He doesn't know it yet, but he's going.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's not exactly on my bucket list.
Good for you,
yeah,
Ron.
I'm not too good with.
Stick to your
I'm
guns.
difficult with heights on a ladder. I don't know about jumping. So
You don't
Listen,
jump.
I hate heights.
You don't jump.
I
There's no
suck
jumping
ladders.
involved. All you do is kind of roll out. You just roll. Just a little roll, like getting out of bed, just in a forward motion.
Yeah. Tommy, you're not coming across right now. You hate heights, but you jump out of planes.
Listen, I had to go up into my loft in my warehouse today, and it was like I got to the top. I'm like, "Fuck, the ladder's moving." It's just different. Like you look out at the plane, it's just a completely. I do hiking. I used it a lot more than I do now. But like, I could walk up to a ledge like this and look over. But if it went down this way, I couldn't. I can't walk down. I'm like, all right, what if somebody knocks me over? At least I'm crawling up. You're not gonna slip down this way. I can't just fall over the ledge. We open the door. When the plane door opens up and you look down, your mind is like, what the fuck is that? That's a square. That's a circle.
What the fuck? Is that what that's that? He tricks himself every time.
That's
Like,
another
hey, what the
line."
fuck is that? Oh shit.
Your mind just can't comprehend. It tries to rationalize things. Your mind's like, oh, what the fuck is that's a bunch of shapes? It's like blocks when you were a kid. And then once you get out, it gets a little scary. But
All right.
No.
anyway, listen, guys, I appreciate you letting me jump on and talk to Ron.
course.
My
You got work
my
to do.
better half is ready to kill me. So
Oh, yeah,
I'm gonna go
you lost
check
the
out-
dog. You lost the dog. You find it?
We found the dog, so the trauma's over. We're gonna go back and watch. I'm gonna listen. Has anybody
Gonna watch Borat?
No, we're gonna. Oh, dude, what is the thing I've been seeing advertised on Netflix?
It's
Borat.
free on Prime right now.
Is it a
I'm
new Borat?
20 minutes into it, yep. And I'm seeing all over the news that they actually get Rudy Giuliani to go into a bedroom with his daughter and pants come off.
Not
So
good.
I am
hands
so
go
looking
down.
forward.
Hands
Oh,
go
really?
down.
His hands go down.
You're
His
so
own pants.
fast.
His own pants. So it's okay. He was checking
Yeah.
for Mike, dude. He was checking for Mike, dude. Relax.
He said he was only tucking in his shirt.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slowly.
His penis got in the way.
Yep. Oops.
All right. Listen, before I get killed,
Yep,
see you guys on the next one.
for sure.
Ron, let's
Tommy,
hook up
I'll
offline,
reach out.
brother.
I'll link
I
you
can't
guys.
wait to meet you, dude.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, you always rock.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Well,
man.
you're going outside right now. Just knock on his door on the way to dinner.
Hey, Ron. Later, boys.
All right,
Take
man.
care, Tom.
Peace.
Peace out. Nice. So, well, cool. That's what we had to do. You have to takes international. It takes a well, not international. It takes a you coming on the podcast to get you down the road, but definitely be a good link up. I think that'd be great. I think it's one of the. It could be the missing 1%. You know what I mean? Because it literally, I put it into my program and it made the terpene profile better on the plants. It made the plant's overall health look better. And those two things can't help, can't hurt. Terpenes, I don't know so much. Maybe pumpkin terpenes aren't as big of a deal, but it might
Why
translate
not?
to something else. It might translate to something else.
Well, I've heard a lot about it, and if the amino acids in it is what it's all about with us too. I mean, that really helps plant vigor, plant growth, and everything. Natural, the natural cytokines and hormones, in the plant, and it triggers that. And so I'll definitely get Tommy's, info and hook up with him. A lot of times, and as you know, when you're doing everything by yourself, a lot of times you got piles of notes to reach out to people. It's just always finding the time to make the connection. And but it's something I have to get better at. And now with some more help coming on board,
Right.
I'll be able to do that.
Cool. Well, I think it'll be a good meeting. Keep us informed, and we'll hopefully, we'll get you back on the program maybe sometime soon here too.
Absolutely. I always appreciate my time with you guys. I really do.
Yeah, for
Thanks
sure.
for coming on.
And can we extend the done deal now in case people want to order for get their preps going for mycorrhizal products or anything like that?
Absolutely. I have an Adam Dunn discount code on my site that is 10% off and free shipping on all orders. And the code, I'm gonna double check that code. I believe it's Adam Dunn or Done Deal. I have to look the exactly one, Adam. I'll text that
I think
to
it
you.
used to be.
right
I
after
think
we hang up.
I told you to do done deal, but I think you may have had it as Adam Dunn, and it made it confusing.
Yeah,
but either way, maybe we can change it and get it onto the done deal program.
I will.
Keep it simple.
I can do it immediately, and I'll get that info back to you. But I appreciate all the support, and I'll reach back out to you soon.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for your time. I've always told you this. You're a legend here in the culture in Rhode Island. That's for damn sure. And I hear your name all the time, and I say, "Oh, I know Adam." Everybody's like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "Yep."
It's like everyone's
Ron, what's your website? For
It's
anyone out there who wants-
WallaceWow.com.
We'll get that up on the chat, Kane, and
Nice.
post it in the forums.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank
Thanks,
you
Ron.
very much.
100%.
Thank
Thank you, guys. Take care. Peace. Have a good night.
Yep, you too, man.
Peace.
Bye.
See how he flew away? He flew away just like he flew
Dude,
in.
nobody made any Charlie Brown jokes.
What was the Charlie
I
Brown
said the
part?
Great Pumpkin once. Come on, the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Didn't. No.
No?
No.
Oh my goodness.
They're not really hot.
You're
right
my
now.
age. How do you not know that show?
Of course we know it. We know
Oh.
it. We know it.
All right.
All right. So Ron is still on the air. That's the hard part. Oh, he's off. He's on. Oh, there he is.
No, I said Tate was in the
Tate was
in the
hanging
chat
out.
room, or somebody was
He was hanging out.
impersonating him.
All right. Let's see how.
Oh,
this
look at that
sounds.
setup. What is
I
that,
know,
man?
he's-
Holy shit.
He's in outer space, bro.
Show off.
How's it sound?
Look at that. Is that above your bed? What the hell is that? Holy shit.
This is my basement.
Oh, sure. Everybody's got a tricked out basement.
Are your headphones working? Because we never got to do our check, and now I see your.
Yeah, the headphones are working, except for it's plugged in my stereo for some reason. I hear the show here, but the mic talk over there. I don't know what's going on.
Well, we're halfway there.
See,
We're
that's what
halfway
happens when you don't show up for sound check.
there. We were there. We were waiting.
Yeah, we were waiting for you for sound check. What's up, little man?
If you click the audio next to the
you know.
arrow, you can probably switch it to the headphone mic.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Did you hear the suggestion? Go to the
I'm
little
getting-
video or the microphone.
Yeah, no, this is my basement, bro. I just pimped out the basement hard this year.
I know.
I did the full rena, you know?
I like the ceiling. I can tell you're getting an echo
I think you're hearing the sound from the show delayed.
on the
So
stereo.
you definitely have to change your mic to to make sure you're listening, and then turn off your
Because otherwise you have a
YouTube.
delay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, turn off the YouTube.
yeah.
That's where it's coming from. All right, now I'm good. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
you guys hear
we
me?
can hear you.
Oh, we
Hear
can
me?
hear you fine. We're good.
Okay,
No delay?
awesome.
No delay?
Well, I can hear you guys now. We good. Yeah, so it was looping back and it was doing the delay thing. But yeah, so this is basically my basement. I pimped it out this year during the quarantine and did the fiber optic universe star ceiling and stuff right here with bees right here. I ain't pay nobody to do that shit. You know how it is.
I like that. I like that. That's pretty sick.
That's good.
You sound like how Adam runs his show.
What's that? Big mess.
Nobody's getting paid.
Oh, that's the way it works. Yeah, 100%.
That's it.
That's the ticket.
Wait, he left already? What,
That's
we
it.
lost
Show's
him?
over. Yeah. I think he's going to turn that off probably because it's probably driving him crazy.
Set Starry Night.
Or he's setting his kid up.
There we go.
Yeah, I was setting the kiddo up. Sorry about that. But yeah, so actually I heard something while Ron was on that I wanted to show you guys. A couple of years ago, I had a chance. My brother has a plane. He's got a little Kit Fox, which is a 2-seater plane. It's a bush plane. This thing only takes off within 200 feet. It's made to get in and out of like bush areas in Alaska and whatnot. But basically, can I screen share?
Yeah, that's fine.
Can I do screen share?
Do it.
Yeah, you can do that.
All right. Oh, host disabled participation screen share. So if you guys turn that on. But, so we had this really awesome thing. It was called the Pumpkin Throw Challenge, where we'd load a bunch of pumpkins about this big up in my brother's airplane. And then out on this lake, they put this floating raft
You should be good
with
now.
a keg sitting in the middle of it. Okay, cool. And they were able, oh, there it is. They let us throw all these pumpkins into the pumpkin throw area. And check this out here. Too much stuff on one screen. So this is me, my son loading the
Tegan,
pumpkin
can you get the other pumpkin?
High five. Is there one more?
Tegan,
Bowling Tegan, high five.
Tegan, get the pumpkin. Can hand the pumpkin to Dada.
Oh, this was a few
Oh,
years
see a
ago.
black cat
Yeah.
crossing path.
Get the pumpkin.
He's like, I could do that now, no problem.
It's a big one. You got it. Hand it to Dada.
Thank you.
All right. Good job.
So yeah, basically we would go up and we would throw the pumpkin out of the plane. Hey, buddy, can you go over there? Thank you. Throw the pumpkin out of the plane and hit the keg in the middle of the lake. And so me and my brother, you're coming in at like 1,000 feet up, you're doing 90 miles an hour, and you're like, huh! And you chuck these pumpkins out, and you're hoping to hit the keg. Well, me and my brother won 3 years in a row tossing pumpkins out the plane. It was amazing.
So you're not
I
flying.
figured
So
I
your
would
brother's not
show
flying
that
the plane.
just
They have an
for-
actual pilot who's in charge of the thing. You just happen to be the best shots, basically, right?
No, my brother is the pilot.
Oh, really? Shit.
I'm the thrower.
What? There's no. So like, is there other people with planes, or would they have other ways to hit it, or other planes?
Yeah, so it's my brother and all of his buddies. And they've got like 8 or 10 little planes,
Oh,
you know.
I got you. It's like
And
the hot
so
dog.
they
It's
all
like
come out to
it's
the
like a hot
farm.
dogs on the motorcycle deal. Like, get your girl on the back of the bike. We're gonna do the hot dog challenge now. Except this is the plain version of that with pumpkins. I got you.
The hot dog
I got
challenge?
you.
What the hell is that?
See, Dave doesn't know.
Yeah,
you haven't been to one of those parties
It's
before.
super legit. It's real fun. Actually, I miss it. We're not doing it this year because of the coronavirus thing and all the weird stuff. There's no pumpkin toss this year. And I'm
See,
like,
I
what?
told you, pumpkins
Yeah,
are-
this
pumpkin
year-
vibe
Are
is
the
down.
pumpkins contaminated or something?
Well, we'll just say this: all the people that head the pumpkin challenge are all in like, their 60s, maybe even 70s. They're the people who own the property, so they're kind of like,
They don't really want a bunch of people coming out.
People out to the farm this year.
I get it.
Understood.
Dave
It's
would be the first
unfortunate,
one
but
out
it is
there.
what it is.
Dave would be
I'll be
running.
the first one out
Makes me
there in a little while. I'll tell you that.
So Tate, we're having
ready to
you
go.
back so quickly on the show because right after we talked, it was only you were on what about a month and a half ago or something like that, 4 weeks ago,
Something like that.
something like that, right before harvest season. But you were putting together where you had you had your bulk separator set up, and we kind of talked about it, but at the same time, now it's being put into action. And also by one of our former guests, which was a couple weeks ago, we had Gannon on the show. We talked about his field. And I got a call from Gannon in a panic because he had hired a company to come and harvest for him. And they had come in and stripped everything off the plant and had it all bagged into super sacks and brought it to their facility. And then, lo and behold, just like everybody who hasn't worked with cannabis before, or maybe has worked with cannabis but doesn't understand that this is the kind of plant that will push the limits of anything you're doing. And when you're harvesting really big hemp plants, it's going to fuck your machine up. And I guess they couldn't get their dryer unit to work, which was gumming up and getting on apparently the tumbler or something like that was getting gummed up. Anyway, they called Gannon and said that they're going to give him his money back, and here's all your material. And if you're a grower and you're thinking of like thousands of pounds of wet cut material, which is like breaking down in front of your eyes, like it's turning into compost as we speak. It's getting, if you put your hand in the middle of it, it's probably getting warm already, so you're like, fuck. He called me, I called you because I knew you had that machine, but I didn't even, like, it's one of those things where it's like rolling the dice. You're like, I'll try. I don't know. This is the time of year. It's pretty hard to get people to do anything if they haven't already got something going on. But you managed to get their material in, dry it, and almost finish it by to the point where you're almost done with it now, right? Or close to it. So, I mean, that's...
Yeah,
it's an amazing turnaround.
We got like maybe one more.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, brother. At the end of the day, it was so funny how that all worked out. Like Andy, your buddy, is sitting here having breakfast at my house. He's like, yo, we need to call Adam right now. He just sent me a text. You call me and you're like, dude, Gannon's flipping the fuck out. This dryer just totally screwed him and stuff. And I'm like, ooh, that sucks. And yeah, we're in a very blessed situation right now. We have a partnership with this company here in Colorado that owns the drying facility that's called Hemp Nectar. And so Hemp Nectar...
That's Jeff.
Jeff and Josh.
Yeah, I know Jeff.
Yeah, your buddy. He was like, "Oh, I know." Yeah, so smaller world than we all even realize all the time, right? And so he was like, "Where did the lead come from for the drying job?" I was like, "Through Adam Dunn." He's like, "Oh, my buddy is like helps him with the show." And I'm
See,
like,
look at
"Wow,
that.
it's such a small world." So double small world from both sides of the angle here. But yeah, so basically he hit me up. I went to the farm the very next day, and I was actually pleasantly surprised. I was like, guys, this is probably one of the top farms I've seen perform outdoors this year. The only product that I'd really seen that was better was maybe Greenhouse as far as quality. It was definitely the top farm that I saw this year. Huge, giant plants with big colas. They were all stanky and greasy. And I was like, all right, so we got something to work with. Well, it just so happened that they had the exact model that we tout and tell people to do, which is the wet stripper header. Then from the wet stripper header to a semi truck, a side dump loader. Then it came to our drying facility. We dump out about 10 to 15,000 pounds, and then it goes through the rest of our system, which is a grinder, multiple conveyor belts. Actually, that video is also up on my Instagram or my Facebook. If you guys want to share that into the channel, it might give people some good stuff to think about for next year or for this year or any of the services that we can help them with to successfully execute a touchdown. Because at the end of the day, what we hate seeing is farmers that do all the work, and then all of a sudden they're in Gannon's position and they don't have the dryer or the harvester or the extraction or the buyer, or all of it disappears all at once. It's the worst thing ever for farmers. And so we like to be there as a solution for them and whatnot. So that way they can actually successfully end their season, I'm unfortunately hearing about a lot of farmers in the 2019 season that are just walking away from their crops. Oh yeah? Okay, I'll be up in a second.
Yeah, I know. I've heard a lot of
dinner's
that.
ready.
I've heard a lot of that too, where people are just like there's nothing they can do. It's not. They're letting it rot on the field. Here's some shots from Gannon's field from like the day before harvest. I happened to run up there and check them out. They were that was all that Gatsby strain, which was pretty damn fucking impressive. I was amazed. 10-foot plants. There's a picture of Gannon coming up, I think, next one with it's like 8, 9, almost 10 foot. Some of it was like the biggest one was about 10 foot. That wasn't it, right? About 9.
Damn.
But beasts, yeah.
Beasts.
So
that's nice flower right there.
It was really, really fucking impressive, and that's why I was so like when I heard because I had dealt with Gannon on his last situation, and so I could hear the desperation in the voice of like, these guys just he had already paid them he already paid the company. They had the cash in hand, and then they basically just told him to give him his money back, which is unacceptable in this situation, because you've done all this work up to a certain point. You harvest the plants, and the time is not as helping at all. So if you cut it down and you take it to a place, and then you spend X amount of hours trying to make it work, and then just tell the person that you're giving up. So what was the situation there? Not to name any names of who or what, but what was their deal? What was the problem with their machine, and what was their hang up?
Other than it sucked.
Honestly, I think that it actually came down to somebody who sold them the machine was professing and saying that it could do things that they hadn't tested at that point in time. So I'm pretty sure that they went and bought one of those cheap 40-foot container, shipping container, belt conveyor dryers that you can get out of China for, 60 grand brand new. And by the time you've got it all the way installed, you maybe got 150 grand into it or something. Versus like this machine.
Can you send that video to us so that when you jump off, we can show that video after? Because it's about like 7 minutes or something like that, or 6 minutes. The one of
6 or 7 minutes.
Send that if you can send that to Mark. Then when we can let you go to dinner and we'll play that at the end so that we can show everybody what's going on with that because it's pretty self-explanatory on that one.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then
Yeah, for sure.
but yeah, I think it's one of those deals where if you're it's so funny too, isn't it? Like how it doesn't matter if it's a small grow or a hemp field, no one ever really thinks about the drying and processing and space required for that because you really are a lot of times shooting in the dark because they're like, I don't even know how much I actually need because
They know about it now, though. Everybody who went through 2019 is well aware of post-processing.
Well, Gannon,
you
well,
know?
that was one thing. Like Gannon definitely.
You'd think.
He knew himself this year. That's why he said he's not going to try to dry it. He's going to hire somebody professional to do it for him because he saw he literally saw that was the biggest fucking hindrance last year. Is they filled up their dry space 4 times in a row, and if you're trying to like do that, it's really hard. You know, it's better to like get it in, fill up once, process it and get it out because if you have to start because everything changes in between, right? And so
it's all relative humidity though, so that's why you can't add wet into dry. It just changes the watermark from everything.
Yeah, so you gotta you gotta do them in groups, but it's still then you're like really pushing it because like every time you're leaving it out on the vine for another 10 more days or whatever it was, and just the work level was too high and the amount of costs and wastage and all that. So anyway, so we hired these professional guys to come in. They screwed them over. And then, luckily, we had Tate to come save the day. Is now
Golf clap again.
Now is that the bulk separator? Is that still the same thing, or is that a combination of that and something else on top? That's the incredible bulk separator. Right?
It's technically. Yeah, so it's technically both. It's the incredible bulk hemp separator plus an IEC thermo dryer. And plus that IEC thermo dryer was kind of the keystone piece to allow it to be a seamless drying into separation process versus, you could take it to an IEC dryer and then you're super sacking out of it. And then you got to take those super sacks and take them somewhere to a bulk separator like mine, and then unload them and then re-separate your material. This process is completely in line. So we have semi trucks that dump the product out on the floor. It goes in, then it goes all the way through the system and comes out completely dried and separated, which at the end of the day is what we've got to be doing as farmers and as the industry moves forward for large scale hemp production, especially this is sheerly on the isolate, distillate, and water soluble end of the spectrum for all extraction. This is not the smokable hemp category or smokable flower category at all. So at the end of the day, we're able to really help people out because when you're doing smokable, I mean, anybody who especially survived 2019 knows that the acreage scale is much lower versus your commercial scale for extraction can be a lot more acres and a lot more plants. And
which one? That one.
Sorry.
Bad. It says
it's black.
Video has been removed by the uploader. You removed it, Mr. Uploader.
Oh man.
Somebody removed it.
That was my that was my video editor. I told him to make a tweak.
Yeah.
And
he twacked. He tweaked. You said tweak. He twacked. And now we're twacked.
Now you're fucked.
Yes.
He jigged when he should have jogged. He zigged when he should have zagged.
It is on.
Yes.
It is on your page though, isn't it?
It's on Yeah, if you go to Instagram, you can see the unedited raw, uncut version.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, it shows the process.
On which one?
On you, right? On the Tate, on yours.
Key to Life Instagram.
Okay, cool.
Instagram. Gotcha.
Key to Life Instagram. Yep. Key to Life Supply Instagram.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's
not as smooth. It's not
really awesome.
It's not as smooth as the edited version. So, but that's all right. It shows all that. It shows all.
No edit.
You've edited in some stuff. You made it. It's like, okay, it's not working. Edit in, make it work, right? Some Hollywood magic. You were like, yeah, this is what you get. No, we know. No, it was 100%.
Actually, he just chopped my blabbering down. I was just sitting there blabbering and it turned into a 6.5 minute long video. And he's like, let's chop that down so people will watch the whole thing.
We have
happened
a
on that.
captive audience here, so they're forced to watch it. Well,
Yep.
it's okay. We can do dabs. We can do dabs while we're doing it.
Everybody do a dab. And this is where I say,
Yep,
if I go to the Key to Life, is it Key to Life Garden or Key to Life Supply?
Key to Life Supply, Instagram,
And
and
what about
KTL Supply website.
what about the done deal on your website for people who are, finding you from? What do we have to do to get the done deal discount
With
in
the
there?
ambassador deal? Yeah.
DUNNDEAL on the promo code. It's all set up. It's been in there for probably over a year. We're rocking and rolling.
Nice. Done deals
Let's
all around.
Get it coming through.
Good.
Yeah, done deals all day.
Whenever you have a
Man.
double done deal, tell us, because if you ever have a double done deal, you get airtime.
What's going on?
So
I was just telling everyone
Double
to
done
try
deal.
the done deal everywhere, man. You never know where it does work.
Yeah, and if they get,
Right?
usually if you can
what a
confuse
great
them,
Padawan there, Mark.
if you can confuse them, you might even work. You know what I mean? Anywhere at any time. So
I have it on good authority. It does not work at a Chinese restaurant in
yes, we
Amsterdam.
know that, but that's with Dumac. No. So
Right.
do you have to go to dinner? Because I don't want to keep you from dinner and get you in trouble. We can always play your video and get back to you.
I can hang out.
You're
I
allowed?
can hang out
Okay,
for
cool.
a few more.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I can hang out.
Cool.
I had to put a lock on my basement door here recently just so I could do these Zoom calls without faces appearing like right here. As
That's
happened
what you're
earlier.
going
So
with.
Now.
That's your story. Why you locking it? Your name's not Jeffrey Tubin, is it? No. Okay. That's the guy that got caught on a Zoom chat. He was a CNN
yeah, I do. I
New
remember
York
that.
Times reporter, and he was in
I
his
saw that
basement.
shit.
And the chick walked behind him.
So ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, one day one of my buddies was over here, and he was like watching me try to work and do Zoom meetings and get documents done and stuff. And that day I was juggling mega hard, like both the kids and all this stuff. And he was like, "Dude, I hate to be like that, bro, but you might want to go and spend $15 on a lock and put that thing on your door so you can actually get some work done without being bothered." So.
Yeah.
After I saw the Tubin incident.
That's funny.
Yeah, I was just thinking now that everybody's so used to Zoom and shit, it's almost like you want to get one of those old video game consoles, the ones you used to go inside of, like they have the game inside, and then just build your own like Zoom chamber. You know what I mean? Since you have good sound and good light and all that, and fucking because you have to do because it's like becoming almost standard. You know, it's like. It's funny too because every guest we have has never had Zoom before, so they're like, "How do you do? What do you?" Because they know you have to get sucked into it, right, at some point.
Well, and it's so funny because I went and did this whole renovation down here to set up my home office. I haven't been working at my warehouse as much because of the COVID thing and the blah blah blah. So I set up my own personal office here at the house. And then I put this in, and I put this in, and I put all this stuff in down here. And it just so turns out that I've got I'm going to toot my horn real quick. One of the coolest, not Zoom background environments to film in right now. And all my buddies are like, "Damn, bro, maybe I got to step my game up in my basement or my office. Like, what do you got over? What are you doing over there?" So
It's
good timing.
Everyone can now design the perfect background, and that's all they got. The rest of their house is a big fucking mess. You know, it was like got the killer background, everything's all perfect and clean. You know, just don't go over here and don't go over there. they're doing now. They have Instagram. They have Instagram. In LA, people have these fake interiors of planes and stuff, so you can pay by the hour. You come in with your group and you take all your shots like you're on a private jet somewhere, but it's just like a sound studio kind of thing where they have just a piece of a jet in a place, and super cheesy. And then some famous YouTuber chick got busted. You're like, wait a minute, I was there last. Like they knew it because they were there the week before. They have the exact same shot, and they're like, that's just a sound studio in fucking Culver City or whatever. It's like people are killing it. Whole new business model.
What are you dabbing on, Tate?
I got a little medley here. This is actually, it's funny. This is crude, believe it or not. But this is hydrocarbon propane crude of CBD and CBG material before DWAX. And I've actually been dabbing on this just because it tastes so good. It's like mind-blowing that this is crude. Crude is such a crazy term because you can have crude from CO2, crude from BHO, crude from propane, crude from ethanol, and they're all 1,000% different. So we're actually dropping the crude title and category on this product, and we're calling it the hemp butter because it is like, it's so clean, it's so tasty, it's super full spectrum, and it's like, what I'm into right now is I've got CBC on its own, CBN, CBG, CBGA, CBD, CBDA, and I take them, and then THC, of course, and THCA, and I take them and blend them together in my mad alchemist scientist thing here, you know, my cauldron, so to speak.
Your Puffco.
And I bubble it up. Yeah, my Puffco. And I've been doing research and development to the highest order, bro. I love being the guinea pig.
Well, we're going to send over a bunch of broken empty jars for you to fix and fill up for us with all those, whatever, every cannabinoid you just said right there. I want to try some. So I'm a Carta guy. I think they smoke the same out of the Carta. So we'll have to.
For sure.
We'll find a way to meet up and socially distant exchange. We trade bagels for cannabinoids.
What was the what's the final blend you're ending up with, like as far as THC to of the other cannabinoids?
So I've been doing like literally 1 to 1 to 1. Hang on one second, I'm up here.
1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1, 99 times. 1 to 1 to 1.
It's 50% this, 50% that, and 50% of the other thing. And then you mix it all together.
Mix it up. Dude, it's been fun. It's been so fun. It's like mad weed scientist games and shit.
Well, that's like when you're doing your selection, it's the best time, you know what I mean? Because it's like you're going through, you're venturing into the unknown for a while. Because as weed people, you tend to you gravitate towards something that you like, and that's kind of your daily driver. But when you're doing your pheno hunts and your selections or your different hash making runs and your different screens, and those are those real tough moments when it's like, I guess I have to do some work now, which is get super baked and try all these different things. So it's the spoils of the game. I was gonna say so Cece made a super chili. She made a chili sauce from your peppers that we got. Remember, you gave those peppers to Andy? So she made with the scorpion peppers and things, and it was crazy.
Scorpion peppers?
Oh, shit, yeah. And
my buddy just made me some with the scorpion peppers.
And,
I want some.
They're amazing.
Fuck yeah.
And so Cece was making it, and we had we had literally like a few incidences in a row during the process. Like the first incident was she was making it and she didn't pay attention because she went and made Nick's bed, and then Nick came in the room like he had picked up the pillow like of the blanket, and it like got in his eye. So one eye was just like boom. So first was that ice on the eye. He's going to bed, and then about an hour later, he's in bed. Cece decides to de-seed all of them, right? So she's de-seeding them all. And she didn't wear gloves. And she was like de-seeded all of them, and then all of a sudden she started getting like hot like her hands got burning hot, right? Burning. And she fucking had like, all of a sudden it was like one of those moments where it was like hot, cold, oil, soap, hot, cold, or like anything you could do to kind of pull that capsicum out of her skin, and it was like all night. It was like to the point where we had to have ice water next to the bed so she could put her hands in ice water to pull them out, and it was still burning. Those things were fun.
Did he tell you? Because when I handed those to Andy, I was like, yo, bro, liability disclaimer. These things don't fucking play, bro. Like, these will send people to the hospital and shit.
What are scorpion peppers on the Scoville scale?
It was 100%.
2 million.
2 million?
2 million.
Oh, fuck.
2 million
Dude,
Scoville.
I had ones like this.
That was an interesting story, Adam, but I thought it was going to go a whole different direction.
No,
But,
no,
I'm
I was already like, you ain't touching me at all with those hands. that will, yeah, no, it was, no, it was, luckily it was literally was that moment because I could see the pain, you know, it was like jumping in her own skin because it was hurting so much. It was like, holy shit.
I'm sorry, Cece.
Hey, we
And I don't know if water would be the thing, right? I hear that using milk
Water's
or
not
butter
the
or
thing.
something
Well,
like that.
technically, it's like you're kind of like you don't know what to do right at that point. It's like because you think to put it into cold, but it's like actually like I'm looking. Of course, I'm on fucking doing the classic where I'm on like, yeah, you got
WebMD.
you got hot hands. You got what they call hot hands. She's like, yeah, no kidding, burning, you know, and they were like, of course, everything was like going against each other. One was saying, put oil on it because then the oil will suck it out, which kind of makes sense from a point of view of like oil because it's capsicum that's gone into the skin, so it is like an oil type of a thing, you know. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. But then you're like, nope. Then you got to take the hottest water you can put it under, which is like not hot at all. And
It could be like dropping a cell phone in a toilet. You should stick your hands in a bag of rice.
yeah.
You know, maybe that would fix it or something
It
like
was
that.
it was fucking crazy. So anyway, but we did make a killer sauce. We made a killer sauce out of it. So I got it was
Like,
Spicy.
I've
Wasn't all
given
in
those things to probably 10 people in my backyard, and like when I'm giving them to, I'm like, hey, are you listening to me right now? These things don't play.
Pay attention.
well, I kept well we did at least you got the seeds out and labeled and into bags before it all kicked in. It was weird. It was like a delayed reaction too because I guess you just got to build it up to a certain point, and then at a certain point it's like, all right, now I'm going to start hurting, and you got a shitload of it, and it's all inside.
Well, what sucks is it bleeds through your fingers. You get it on your fingernail and it bleeds down into the skin behind your fingernails. And you legitimately will feel it up to here.
Yeah.
Like it drains down into your hand and you have oil all the way in your fingers and stuff. And then once that happens,
Yeah, but she was peeling it
it's
by hand.
all bets are off.
Think about it.
I got a
Think about it. She
suggestion,
was literally
though.
peeling it out by hand, like doing with everything. Like it was like, you know, fear factory shit. If you actually were, if you
Fear
knew what you were,
Factor.
fear factory. If you knew what you were doing, you'd be like, holy shit. Are
How
you
about you
touching
hand
this?
out a pair of gloves every time you hand out the peppers?
there you
Oh
go.
no, it was one of those
No,
classics too.
I
I
have.
there was a bag of gloves sitting right there, and I was like, you know, there's gloves right there. I was like, I was that guy. Hey, you know what you should have done,
Dude.
what you could have, should have done.
Kyle's saying that peppers that
I have
will
been
actually
there
burn you
with
through
that.
the gloves.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, it was.
Yep. They
Okay,
will.
wear two pair.
They'll pass through the pores. It depends on the gloves. You go get the real nice black trimming gloves.
That's
that are
what we
a little
had.
bit thick.
We
You're
had
pretty good.
Right there.
You're pretty. Yeah, that's the golden. ticket
Yeah,
to
but
keep
this
it
is the
away.
wrong time to try to trust gloves because everybody and their fucking brother is manufacturing gloves. I bought some off of Amazon just to wear around. You know, you don't want to, you can't check in the mail, whatever it is. You want to put gloves on right now.
Touching yourself. With
I put these gloves on, wasn't even thinking, picked up my iPhone, and my thumbprint passed through the glove. It was so fucking shitty.
Nice.
And it was a black glove.
Oh.
I shit you not.
That's crazy.
It was my Heather watched.
Why do you have your? Why
I
do you have
did
your?
it twice
Why do you have your thumbprint set up anyway, dude? Don't do that.
on my iPhone. How do you log onto your iPhone?
You check in with the fucking number like anybody else. Come on now, don't use your thumbprint.
Yeah. Oh,
You
fuck.
lazy.
They,
bastard.
what do they want to know about me? They got it already, man. You know, I live a very boring life.
They upgrade every time.
What do
you
they
do
want
it,
to
though.
know?
Things change. Nah.
They moved on a while ago.
I
They're
have a passcode. I want you to come over and make that fucking Starry Night Sky. That's the coolest fucking thing. I think you're in the wrong business. I think you could fucking get some SOPs on that and start selling them to everybody's basement. You know?
Dude, and like legitimately, my buddies who come down here, they're like, "Damn, bro, what'd you do to your basement?" Because I did the carpet, I got the couch, I did the Hawaiian backdrop.
What's the blow up doll in the corner there?
You went 70s. You went kind of like
No
70s,
blow-up
all
doll.
out
No
70s
blow-up
master
I'm
bedroom.
married, dog. But
It doesn't matter.
yeah,
you could be
so,
you could
like, my
share.
buddies
You could be
come down,
sharing the
they're-
doll. You could be sharing the doll
Right.
together. Yeah, you could be one of them.
That end of my life is pretty good. I don't need no fucking doll. But yeah, so basically my buddies come down here, and one of my buddies was like, "How much did you spend on your basement remodel?" I was like, "Guess." He's like, "I don't know, 40 grand." I was like, "Holy shit, no way, really?" I was like, "What do you think I got wrapped into the ceiling?" He's like, "Dude, that's at least 5 or 10 grand you got up there." Guess how much I got on the ceiling? You won't guess right.
800
First
bucks,
world
$1,000
problems.
bucks, $1,000 something cheap like that.
You were close. It was about 600 bucks.
Yeah, I was gonna say even cheaper just because it's not that. It's one of those. You can run that with a small amount of light, right? Because it's fiber optic, so obviously it's super sensitive.
The little fiber optic thing, I bought it on Amazon for $89. The little fiber optic thing was 750 strands in it, and then I just got real creative. I can't give the rest of my secret out.
Yeah,
on
of
how
course.
I did
Otherwise,
it,
you
though,
can't charge $10,000
then my
for
side
it.
hustle will be out, you know.
Yeah.
Then I can't charge 10 G's for this shit.
Right. If you got guys,
Well, if you were gonna say your basement cost 40 grand, then the done deal just went to 20% instead of 10.
yeah, it's the same.
Right?
745. That's it. Ooh, we got it to the dollar. How about 745? Is that even better? Is it closer? Like that? Probably
You were
was.
close. It was about 600 flat.
Yeah, but then you got to take
600
into
bucks
account.
flat
Then you
is
got to
about
take
what
into
I got
account. Then you got to take into account. You got to charge yourself a little bit, right? Like, you took something. That's just like I'm sure that's to the exact dollar of.
Oh,
the
that was
Yeah.
sweat, blood, sweat, and tears, sweat equity shit for
Yeah.
sure. Without
$9,000.
like,
$9,000.
Me and my wife, like, I bet we had, I don't know, 10 hours into the design that I don't have equated for. You know, I get paid $5,000 per hour, so there it just went way the fuck up.
No, it looks
But,
dope. It looks dope.
It looks really
Thanks,
nice.
brother. Appreciate it. Yeah, you got to come hang out and experience the situation, because we got the 75-inch curved plasma, or the OLED TV right here with the surround sound built in, and I did it all myself. Straight up, didn't hire any of this shit out.
You built the television yourself?
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
Built the TV myself, dog.
The weed is in the television? No, it's made out of weed.
The reason that you fall asleep watching my TV is because I put
Okay,
CBN
Sergeant
in that
Stadeko.
shit.
Fiber weed.
Fiber weed.
Fiber weed. And it's 100%
High
marijuana.
potency. And then I coated. See that shine on my couch? That's actually CBD oil.
Of
You know, you
course.
just immediately relax into the couch even more.
That's, in fact, that's what we thought it was.
Exactly.
CBN.
CBN. Has anybody tried CBN? Have you guys dabbed CBN oils or isolates yet?
No. Have you?
Isn't it just dabbing reclaim?
Well, it's kind of like that, but
Ah!
tastes better, I'm sure.
That's the old school tech. We're actually breaking it down to the CBN molecule through extraction. And I have been doing, I will say this, CBDA plus CBN is an absolute miracle. It's 100% a miracle. Like, I can't turn my brain off at night. I don't know if you knew that, Adam. I'm sure I slept in Vegas in the same house as you and was telling you I couldn't fucking sleep the whole time and shit. So basically I've got like this wicked bad hamster on the cage and on the wheel and shit, and I can't ever get my brain to turn off. Well, CBN plus CBDA in dietary fashion as well as in dab fashion is like a game changer for me. I can actually sleep. My quality of life is a lot better because I can sleep, because I'm not, up till 3:30 in the morning, can't get my brain to turn off. Then I get anxiety because I know that I got shit to do the next day and I'm going to be all tired for it and whatnot. So switching it up and going heavy to CBDA plus CBN in dietary and in smoking consumption has been a fucking game changer for my brain chemistry. That's for sure.
From a smoking side, because you know how like it's kind of interesting when you see how the different components of the plant are. Like you'll get, because CBN's really like almost comes out like hard as a rock, right? Doesn't it, or something? Or is it's one of those like where you're just like, holy shit, like that stuff's like has no movement in it whatsoever, right?
It crashes out to crystals way easier. Kind of like CBD versus THC. It crashes out a lot easier. Same with that CBN.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So but it also comes out like almost like solid, clear, like on its own without even having to push it further.
Just like the D8. The D8 that we're making is crystal clear. It looks like water pretty much. So I'm blending D8, CBC, CBCA, CBG, CBGA, CBD, CBDA, THC, THCA, CBN, and CBNA all together, all in one, and it's a fucking great time, homie.
You just reconstituted the plant.
Pretty much.
Like that's what Adam and I started talking about this like 3 years ago. That's where the whole game was going, and it's come full circle for sure. Of that's basically where we're at is we're reconstituting the plant back into specific to your brain chemistry and your mad scientist research and development, like I've been doing on yourself. What works best for your body chemistry? Well, for me, CBD and CBN is like the magic ticket, on top of some full spectrum THC, of course.
Right. The actual magic, right?
Yeah.
The actual magic.
Fuck yeah.
I can show you guys here. Let me see. I'll show you.
We have to get our pre-production better so that when they go off camera to go, hey, I'm going to smoke this, all of us pull it out.
What's that?
And we have it ready to go. Whatever he's smoking, we should all have.
Oh, yeah,
you know, any guest, we make sure that we're all there, and we do pretend to pass it, and I go like this, hey, or hey,
so
Adam.
which one's that? That's CBN?
That's the CBN.
Okay.
That's the CBN. It's like shatter-ish.
Mm-hmm.
This is the CBDA. CBDA, it looks very similar, but it's a lot more liquidy and it's got a lot more sugar.
Mm-hmm.
This is the CBC crumble.
Okay.
CBC. This is the CBNA. And this is the CBCA crumble.
Yeah, it's cool how everything has its own different consistency. And now, are those things consistent within the plants, or is it plant to plant? Like as far as the CBN always do that, or does it have a whole? Because there's so many different types of resin out there. But
plant chemistry is everything, as you know. Chemotypical, like chemotypical diversity and chemotypical dominance as well is everything in the extract game. And so that's where like the propane extraction has its advantages. It does CBDA and CBD a lot better. You can still get full spectrum, but for whatever reason, hydrocarbon and specifically propane or a 70-30 blend of butane propane.
Like Newport style almost.
Sorry, something just... Yeah, it does not pull out CBG or CBGA very well. The CBG is best done with like the ethanol style extraction. So if you're going for full spectrum, you can use the propane, but you're going to have a little bit lower of the CBG. If you have a CBG dominant plant, you should really be doing ethanol style extraction because that's going to pull all your CBG. So it's really interesting. We're tweaking and tailoring each of the polarities of these solvents to the specific cannabinoid. And that's on the end. Well, in the beginning, going back to, what I've been doing with Key to Life for almost a decade now, is breeding genetics and maximizing those genetics through fertility and biological management. So using different types of bacillus or biological inoculants to be able to create different bioavailabilities of specific nutrient compounds that then in turn stimulate specific cannabinoid development on the genetic side. So it's really fertilizer and biology with genetics. And then at the end of the day, it's that genetic with its polarity of solvent that is really the magic to be able to make all of this, all these fun different jars of concoctions to be able to mad scientist on.
Right. Well, it's funny because back in, I think it was around 94, maybe either 94 or 95, Rob Clark used to come over with same style thing. He had he didn't have it broken down so far, but he had CBD, THC, he had CBDA, and he had the different components at that point. And I remember it was so foreign to me at that time. It didn't even make sense because I was looking at it how the fuck do you get it to crystals? What the fuck's going on here? And he was working with labs that had and he had hemp that was, we had, cannabis really it looked like beautiful buds, and they were just joking because they had made these slabs of hash that looked good, and there was no dabs at that time, so everybody was rolling up joints and smoking it, and some people were like, it tastes good, but I don't know, not getting much headspace, and other people were getting really, really high off of it. And they were laughing because they were like, "There's no THC in any of that." We they had pulled some practical joke on us, and I was just tripping out on the plants themselves because we had a big barrel of them, and we just used it as stunt weed. We were like, "Oh, we need a stunt weed, pull out the big stupid buds, lay them all out."
Movie weed.
Oh, we used it for everything. It was one of those things where we just kind of used it for every photo shoot or whatever. It was like, pull out the stunt weed. So this is that.
Stunt weed.
Where is this? This is that same place?
So pretty.
I want to take a bath in that.
Here's a better one. So this is CBDA.
It didn't even move.
Who needs the best hemp crude you've ever seen? Bulk 55-gallon drums on deck. Holla.
And just throw it on there. Yeah.
Look at that. That is some fire.
Now, as it sits in
CBDA,
there, does it change
propane.
texture? As it
What's
sits,
that? Crude.
Sits in the barrel, does it end up changing texture?
Yeah, it'll actually.
Sorry, people love to just keep chitter chatting while I'm videoing and didn't really realize I'm videoing. But here you go. And then here's some of the distillate.
Fuck.
It's loading.
But
so that distillate is, it's, for whatever reason, it just slowed way down. It was loading like crazy.
86%.
That was the highest one we got. All the ones that are crashed out, though, were above 80, pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's within 12 hours of the distillate going into the jar.
Mm-hmm.
So 12 hour, and we're able to, and so this is the magic. This is my buddy. So these cats, I'm going to throw them some love. This is Illuminated Extractors in Fort Collins, and they have the world's first chillerless hydrocarbon extraction unit. So the chillerless unit is so big because at the end of the day, the chiller is what robs all the power that is, involved in the extract process.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're able to take away that
Who's got that fire? That fire. The flamethrower. What you want, boys?
That kind of looks like the that. Remember when McDonald's got accused of putting pink sludge in their things?
The
and
pink
it
slime, the pink
squirted
slime,
out.
the pink slime.
The pink slime.
Yeah.
Right. And so this is our ethanol extraction factory.
Can you turn the mute that?
We're off today because we're actually.
There we go.
Then you can explain.
So that day we were actually moving our isolation in here right next to our solvent recovery. So the HAL booth was disassembled, but this is Hemp Nectar's facility. So this is where so this is Hemp Nectar's facility. That's their water soluble machine, and so some of the rest of their lab, their rotovaps, and we've got a little bit of distillation on here and whatnot too. But it's a really awesome setup. So that's extraction lab for ethanol. Then I showed you the propane extraction. Then this is our propane. What's called a cylindrical film. So we've all heard of white film, we've all heard of falling film. This is actually a cylindrical film. And the cylindrical film has a much better operating efficiency, and that was actually ethanol crude. So we're able to clean up with this machine about 50 kilos per day with this machine. So we're really excited. We actually just dropped the
50 kilos of
reserve,
crude, not 50
and
kilos of biomass. Obviously.
50 kilos of distillate.
Oh, just
50
kilos
kilos
crude.
of
Distillate. Sorry.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
And then I was going to show you. Here's
Who's
the
that bald
pepper.
guy?
There's the peppers. There's those peppers. There's those damn
in your bare
peppers.
hands.
There's that.
Cece's
There's
hand.
the
Look,
Trinidad.
what someone's got them in their hands. Are they crazy?
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's
It's like
me.
alien. It should burn through.
Yeah, they were.
I'll hold it.
Go back
Well,
to that pepper.
I saved all
Go
the
back to
seeds,
that one.
so we grow them. We'll be growing them.
Who's giving him the finger? Yeah, see?
Look how big that one is. So
I'm
normal
about to burn through the
Trinidad
palm
are
of your hand there.
a third that size.
Mm-hmm.
I got about 1,000 Trinidads off that plant that were about that big. That was one of the bigger ones there, but they're about that big, golf ball size on all of them. And like all my buddies that grow Trinidads and have seen Trinidads grow, like have never seen them get anywhere near that big. But this was like, I loved, I heard Ron talking earlier, like this was an every single day harvest.
Mm-hmm.
I harvested, in just Anaheim peppers, 8 cubic feet off of 6 plants. I was able to fill up an 8 cubic foot freezer with just Anaheims off of 6 plants. Then this was a small handful of the Trinidads I picked that day, and a small handful of the habaneros I picked that day. And then these are the Moscow Miracles, and these are the Hungarian Waxes, and those are the Mad Hatters. And I had 16 different types of pepper in my garden this year. And overall, I would say I would give an A for effort out there. We did very well. There's always things that can be improved upon, but my main fault that I had this year was genetics. Genetics is everything, and at the end of the day, that's how you built your name, Adam, is on genetics. Same thing in peppers, tomatoes, Trinidad, habaneros, everything.
Where'd you source all your stuff
Because
from?
I had some. I've been buying all of my veggie starts from this greenhouse in Fort Collins called Plantorium for almost 20 years now. I was a Front Range Community College plant and greenhouse science graduate, and we actually would do some collaborative stuff with Plantorium in Fort Collins to help sell some of our flowers and some of our other stuff. We do some cross promotion and stuff like that. And so I just became a big fan of Plantorium a long time ago and kept running with them. And at the end of the day, they cultivate 100% organic, and not 100% organic, but they don't use any nasty pesticides, and they have pretty good storage of propagation cells and everything like that. But I brought the genetics back. I had them sitting out in my backyard, and they sat there for about 2 weeks while I was doing all my stuff, and some of my peppers got a little bit stunted out, had a little bit of bad bacteria that kind of got into their root system, and that was that for a couple of plants. Mainly affected my tomatoes. As you know, tomatoes are insanely
Hard.
problematic with bacterial or fungal issues in the root zone.
Need more CalMag, right? It's one of those, like literally, it's like one of those plants that actually does thrive and need that in those situations. Well, cool.
Doesn't matter what temperature, how much you pruned, anything, CalMag.
That's
CalMag.
it. Well, no, that pruning
That's
too,
it.
and,
Just fucking
timing and pruning and all those things are definitely must learn the hard way, which is the whole deal with any growing, right? Just best way to learn, fuck it all up. At least with pumpkins and stuff, and pumpkins and tomatoes and all those kind of things, it's like it's as rewarding and less devastating when you have a fuck up. You know what I mean? So it's not quite as like if your investment's not as high as your whole cannabis garden, where you're like, oh, what are these? What is this problem? Oh, it's looking really frosty now, and you're like, that's powdery mildew. Oh no! So
No!
now I've learned, and I'll never do that again. You know what I mean? That's just the only way. We're gonna let
One
you.
of my favorite things with the cannabis in the backyard was I grew all 5 chemotypes.
Just nice.
All right next to each other. It's gonna be fun.
Sweet. Well, we're gonna let you go to dinner.
Sorry we had you miss dinner.
Yeah, we're gonna let you go to dinner. We're gonna play your video, and we're gonna do our shout outs at the end of the show and catch you on the rebound. I saw Kyle in the chat. He was like, I eat those things like fucking, I eat those like candy, which you told me he definitely can.
No, he didn't.
That's what he said.
No, he didn't.
That's what
I told him, hey, here's what I want you to do. If you claim you're such a badass with peppers, which he is a freak of nature when it comes to eating hot stuff.
Yeah.
But I told him to chew up the Trinidad for 60 seconds and then just spit it out. Just for the pain. Just for the pain.
He do it
No.
or not?
He didn't do it.
No.
No.
We do have
couldn't
this
get
place
that
in
down.
town called the Peppercorn, and they have a hot sauce on the wall. I haven't been in there since this all began, but they used to have these bottles of hot sauce that really they'd go up to the millions of Scoville units. So I'll take that challenge with KTI. The next time we'll eat some peppers.
It was a different Kyle.
Yeah,
Different Kyle.
for
His
sure,
Kyle. It was
man.
his Kyle. It was another Kyle.
Oh, his Kyle.
His
Got
Kyle.
it. Different Kyle.
Different Kyle.
Different Kyle.
Look
Too many Kyles.
at what Cece just found. Look what Cece just found. What?
Ooh, there we go.
There it
Nice.
is. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Cece.
He said
I
he's
wish I
sorry
could have
about
gotten
the
to give
peppers.
her the.
I'm surprised it didn't have like all the where she rubbed the peppers off her hands onto that shirt.
No,
You know?
it was crazy too because it felt like a rite of passage at that point, right? It was like you must survive the fire hands. You know, it was hours. It was more. It was overnight. It was crazy. It was like to the next day. Next day, still feeling it. It was crazy.
Oh yeah.
Very-
It's so bad, dude. Yeah, the worst thing you could ever do is chop peppers and go to the bathroom.
Oh no, we know that. That's
Don't ever do that.
No.
Woo!
Bad call.
Oh, there's worse things.
Bad call. There are worse things, but
It's close to it. All right, well, man. Well, we're gonna let you go, and we'll show that video, and I'll catch you on the rebound.
Thank you, Tate.
And it's Tate
Awesome.
at
I really
Keto
appreciate
Life.
you guys.
Yep, Keto Life Nutrients is the right. Is it Keto? Oh no, Keto Life
KTL Supply.
Supply now. Yes, supply. Yes, exactly.
Enter Done Deal at checkout for now 20% off.
Done deal.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I haven't changed it yet, but you know.
No, it's in there. It's in there. All right, man.
And throwing it out there for everybody before I go, we are now KTL Supply. We're a distributor for Centurion Pro Trimmers. We're a distributor for Illuminar Lighting, which I noticed is your sponsor.
Oh,
We are a
good to know.
distributor for 60 vendors. So if you need greenhouses, dosatrons, irrigation, lighting, trimmers, genetics, fertilizer, boom, 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 drying, harvesting, separating, isolating, distilling, water soluble, we got you.
Greenhouses. I know somebody who might be putting up a greenhouse really soon.
Yeah, who the hell's that?
We should talk.
All right.
We should talk.
For sure, for sure. All right, man. Thanks for coming through.
sure.
And we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right, I'll come up next week anyway. I'm gonna
Appreciate you guys.
check out that place with you. So I'll come for a ride.
Awesome.
Peace.
Awesome. Cool.
Peace.
I'll have the AMG back. Let's go. All right, later, brother.
That sounds good. All righty. And let's see.
Just so you know, that story about Cece burning her hands didn't end the way I thought it was going to end.
No.
I sent.
Well, you sent me something. You sent me your description. Your descriptor.
I sent you the way how it should have ended.
No, it didn't end that way. It didn't end that way.
Jeez. Okay. All right. Are we gonna play this video?
Yeah, play the video, and I'm sending James the. Oops, sorry.
What are we playing? The 6-minute video? Look, it's 75 people still stuck on. We had like 150 at one time.
What's that? It's all right.
We had a lot of people listening live tonight.
So they're able to pull it in here. Then we've got a side dump trailer.
Okay, this is
dumps out here. It's roughly
Gannon's
about 12
garden.
to 15,000 pounds per load, and we're getting about 2 loads per day right now that we're able to process through this system. So I'm going to stand over here and explain it a little bit before it gets really loud and noisy. So first here, we've got our Franklin grinder. Our Franklin grinder is basically a grinder that grinds the material to about 3/4 inch size. Then it comes up this conveyor belt, and there's like a little bit of a brush on that conveyor belt that keeps it, the layer on the conveyor belt very consistent, which is very important. Then it comes up, and that first blue drum is our first heater. It injects hot air from the bottom, lifts that material
It's my job.
ducting, and then takes it
What's your
outside
job?
to the cyclone
Injecting
separator,
hot air.
which you guys have seen in some of the other videos. Then it brings it back in, and it brings it down onto a bubbling bed. That's where the final drying takes place. Once the material is dry enough that it can hop over this little wall, then it goes into the next conveyor. Then that conveyor, that blue conveyor down
like total
there,
Dr.
that
Seuss,
heads
right?
out to the separator.
Right?
Then the separator separates it, stem, seed, keef, and bio.
Imagine cleaning out the keef part of the right field. You'd be like, I'll do that job.
Right?
I just clean that
got it.
screen. I clean that screen when it gets clogged.
Hell yeah.
Don't you worry.
Let's check it out.
Yeah, Tate, your phone's a little bit close. Like the zoom's a little bit much. I tried to do that.
You can see why the guy wanted to edit it. He's like, all right, we could probably want to edit this, I think. But it's pretty cool. This is like a total Cheech and Chong back in the day, right? It's like,
Totally.
it's like Up in Smoke when he goes in the back and he's got to take a shit. And he's like, and the guys are loading all the weed. When I saw that as a kid, I was like, oh my God.
Right?
Look at that. Look at that. And that was the field that we saw earlier, those beautiful
Oh,
plants.
yeah.
All those beautiful plants we saw, that's them right there. It's like
Nice.
All ground
it's
up.
kind of scary, but at the same time, if you go in and you top all your plants, and then you take the field out, and then you strip it up, and then you do this, it's actually pretty, and then you turn all that into isolate or whatever, or distillate. It's pretty dope.
Very nice.
Look at that Dr. Seuss shit right there.
Dr. Seuss shit.
Yeah. Serious piece of machinery, right?
Oh man, I walked through this facility when they were really just getting everything built out,
Yeah.
and it's massive. It really is massive.
It's a fine tweaking
And they're
process.
really
It's
smart
always
about the
gonna
way they set everything up.
continue to change for every single type of material.
She's wearing a mask.
She's got to feed
Is
the
this
monster.
after COVID.
Got to feed that monster all the time. You know, it's like,
Look at that.
nobody wears a mask. It's all fine particulates everywhere. It's like fine particulates and whatever. And nobody's wearing a single mask.
Well, while we're watching this, for all of you guys in the chat gang, man, thank you so much for sticking it out. You're always a breath of fresh air to glance over and see Rosendog saying something completely hilarious and
Well,
totally inappropriate.
Oh yeah, you can't. You could definitely not do this to material that you like. You know what I mean? This
No,
is
yeah.
never done to anything that you love. I mean, they love those plants. I gotta say that, Gannon. And I don't think they would want to see it spit up and ground up. But they did top
What do
as
you
much
mean?
as
They
they
would want
could.
to see it used.
Of course, they want to see it used.
If they didn't save it, it wasn't going to get
No,
used.
no, I know. You have to separate yourself from it.
What's interesting there is, did you notice they have a machine that's moving it, that changes the direction right there? And all the plastic was bitten off the tarp there. I wonder how that was processed.
It used to take super sacks of material, but we don't do super sack loading anymore. We have it hooked up with this belt conveyor, which is 1,000 times better than unloading by super sack.
better.
Oh my
1,000
God,
times
it
better.
saves so much time and so much effort.
Way more efficient.
And as well as a lot of material loss. So we got this conveyor.
It's crazy, right?
And right here's where all our fiber comes out. This is all the separated fiber. And right here's where
So that's their biomass on the other side.
So it's got 90% of the stem separated out of it. And this is
I'll sell you that
extraction
for
grade
50
biomass.
bucks.
It's going to make really good distillate.
Yeah, this is the
or
biggest Rube
isolate,
Goldberg
or
for
even
hemp.
other,
So great.
products.
All right, there you go. That was that. That was that.
There we go. Thank you.
There's a big pile back there. No, but it's pretty interesting to see as far as like, you know, where we finally get to that point where you're talking about like, you know, hundreds of tons of product coming off a field. Something's got to, and you have to do it in a continuous flow like that. Like there's no other way to even conceive of it, because if you have to take and dry and hang and dry, you can't. You just that's a game killer right there. So, you know, it's good in a way because it's like a lot of things. When you do that, when you figure out a way to take care of the bulk of it, you can concentrate on the top 5% of the plant and use that, and then your quality just gets higher. You know, instead of like mixing it all into one, which is what they kind of had to do in the beginning because they were harvesting the whole plant. They're not going to harvest the tops and then so they just harvest the whole plant, and then at a certain point it just turns to a big fucking mess. But now you can take just the tops, boom, concentrate on that. So yeah, I think it's.
Is that just the tops, like the muffins from Seinfeld?
Pretty
really?
much. Yeah, pretty much.
Just the tops, huh?
Just the tops.
It's all bread with you, Dave.
Everything.
I didn't
everything
even
goes
realize.
back.
But yes, that was a Freudian slip, I guess.
Bread.
Yeah.
He's definitely gonna.
Oh, so from bread we can segue into New Millennium Nutrients.
Oh shit! Yes, pay the bills. Pay the bills. New Millennium Nutrients.
Pay those bills.
Actually, it's funny because Bo hit me up just 5 seconds ago, right as he doesn't even know. He doesn't know
He doesn't
how
even
hard we're
understand,
working.
huh?
How
No.
hard we're working over here at Adam Dunn Show for New Millennium. But yeah, you don't have to work hard. You just have to.
This never
jump
came
on-
out, did it?
What's that?
This Carbonaria?
It's what do you mean out?
I don't know.
I think it's out.
Oh, okay. Because
Or it says coming soon. No, I think it is out.
oh, okay.
I believe so.
I never saw it on the product.
Oh, but maybe not. Who knows?
Range,
Don't
so-
ask me. I'm not an expert on these things.
Delayed due to
I just know-
COVID.
I just know how to use it. No, definitely check them out. Go to newmillenniumnutrients.com. Check out their website. Check out the store finder. Figure out if you can get it locally. If not, you can order it online. If you do, you definitely want to use the Done Deal at checkout. You can, if you go and if you want to just grab like 1 or 2 products, you should check out like the Ruby Fulvic, which is the great multi-blend of fulvic acids, and you can use it in between, like kind of like a plant tonic or something. Plants love it. But you can also use Winter Frost as a finishing agent, and that's something where you'll know your plants. You'll know the difference just because if it's one single product you're going to use it near the end, and you're going to see a big difference in the weight retention and also just overall frost. So yeah, single standalone product. Check that one out. And,
Just head to newmillenniumnutrients.com. Remember, you have to enter Done Deal. Don't send us an
course.
email and say, I didn't get a discount, and unless you enter Done Deal at checkout.
That's
And
it.
that's how you do it,
No,
man.
for sure. Check.
Everybody uses it.
Check it out.
But if you're here in Colorado or in several other states and you want good quality, top quality edibles, consistent dosage, flavor, and effect, you look no further than the slew of products that come from Medically Correct. It's Incredibles, True Pura, Keek, Clear Creek Extracts. They're even launching another one right now. The Incredibles are the #1 medical edible in the state of Colorado. Okay, they didn't get that way because their products are anything but the best. So you have to give them a try. They're in every dispensary, I want to say. I mean, close to every dispensary in the state. If they don't have them, make sure you ask for them, and they'll reach out. And somebody like Steve Chang, who's been there forever, will have some edibles delivered to you guys. So if you're looking for CBD only, and you want it shipped somewhere in the country, you go to truepura.com.
Except for California.
And if you entered, what's that?
Except for California.
Except for California. Go to truepura.com, enter Done Deal at checkout. You'll get 20% off your order. So that deal you can't pass up. But we did find a way that you can actually get a discount on Incredibles products, because if you go to Green Farms Med in Colorado Springs, and you have to be a medical patient, and you can write into Done Deal. We'll get you in touch with Dr. Mark or some of the other doctors in the area. But you got to be a medical patient. But you ask for the Done Deal, and they sell Incredibles products, every edible, every major manufacturer. Their flour is top notch. I can't even begin to tell you how good. Yes, Adam, the bubble gum as Juicy G was flavorful through the whole ounce, and I didn't even put it in proper storage this time because I smoked it so fast. But you got to give them a try. Head down to Colorado Springs, ask for the Done Deal at greenfarmsmed.com. But if you grow your own and you want amazing grow products, produce, mushrooms, every grow medium you can think of, by the pallet, thousands of pounds if you want, you go to Build-A-Soil, buildasoil.com, and you go to their Instagram page at Build-A-Soil. I'm blown away, especially the growth.
They just put it all together under one roof, and everybody there is super knowledgeable. So if you call them, you call 855-877-SOIL, you talk to anybody at the spot, they'll be able to help you out. They're all growers. They grow right on the spot there. They have side-by-sides, and they do, they do all vetting with all their products, which is great. And it's funny. It's kind of funny because I would listen to other podcasts, and it's like somehow it's like almost everybody is using Build-A-Soil at some point. So it's like, oh, these guys are fun.
Jeremy's like a PhD of everything you want in regards to soil management. He's brilliant. I mean, he really is brilliant. So you go to buildasoil.com, 855-877-SOIL, or their Instagram page. Fantastic.
Alchemist the breeding techniques. I think it was big on big, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was it was just big on big, and don't ever use anything old, and just keep going forward and don't stop. That was it. That was it. That was it in a nutshell for Elka. Just so he knows.
And free shipping in New Mexico and Colorado, and order over $500, which is a tremendous savings. The shipping stuff, because I know what it's like to ship 6 pounds of bagels to New York. They're the most expensive bagels in the world. So if Jeremy can ship his products to New Mexico and Colorado for free, then you should take advantage of that, because it's fantastic.
Definitely.
But then our newest sponsor, right? If you are looking to understand the world of glass blowing, Chris Hubbard at Hubbard Glass has a whole series of educational videos. He only charges $8. Okay.
Per month.
Did we ever find out if he can enter Done Deal and get a discount, or just
at
basically
$8, you might as well just call that a done deal.
Just tell them you heard about them here in their comment section. But they're fantastic. I mean, you will learn a ton. I mean, he's just a brilliant glass blower right now.
The $80 one is pretty dope too, because then you just get glass sent to you every month, and you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
So that's like collector buyer deal. $80 a month could be spending it on a bunch of other bullshit. Instead, you spend it on that, and you're like, shit, I'm getting stuff. And,
Yep.
and unless you break it every month, like some people. But
Well, that's the perfect reason why you should learn how to blow glass if you're breaking it all the time, because then you just build it again for yourself, blow it again for yourself, make it again.
yes,
You
sir.
got it.
Yes, sir.
So it's Chris Hubbard, Hubbard Glass. The
Patreon.com.
website is
patreon.com/hoverglass.
There you go. And we'll put that up in the chat room and everywhere. But you really, yes, give it a look-see. Yeah, everyone should buy at least the $8 one. I mean, that's a couple of cups of coffee. Oh shit! Is that a segue into the next sponsor? Ozo Coffee.
Shit! Look at you.
Oh my goodness! But
It was.
this is where we have to give a
until you
personal
fucked
shout
it
out
up.
to Rosin Dogs for
saving the day,
single-handedly helping us as a sponsor.
Single-handedly
No, not
getting
only
the
that.
jitters just for us drinking.
No, they did get a lot of orders from multiple different accounts.
Good.
But Rosin Dogs goes so far as to post pictures of him brewing coffee and tagging the show and tagging Ozo. So
Nice.
that really carries a lot of weight. So thank you, Rosin Dogs. We really appreciate it.
Awesome.
But they've got multiple locations in Boulder.
Dave's building a fort out of all of our fucking coffee or something.
no
I don't know what
shit,
he's doing.
huh?
What's he doing?
No, I got something right here for you. I was
Yeah,
able
right?
to pick some up last week. Yeah, no, I got some.
Okay.
I don't have the big 5-pound bags, but I got some.
Okay, I'll get those big 5-pounders. Come on now.
I'll get some this week. Well, Rosin Dog's got to order some more coffee, and they'll increase our supply.
Personally drinking
But really,
all the profits. I
Go
can
to
see it already.
ozocoffee.com. It doesn't matter where you are in the country; they'll ship it to you. And enter Done Deal at checkout. You'll get 20% off your order. Listen, Justin was going to come on the show, but Fridays are really busy for him. So he sent me a picture of the plant he's growing. So I said, "Come on, you guys will have lots to talk about." So ozocoffee.com, Longmont, Boulder, soon to probably be everywhere in Colorado. But if you have a cup of coffee and you're in Barcelona, that's where they have some interesting coffee.
Well, they're
There you
not
go to
now because we're in
Tresor.
fucking lockdown, bitches. Everything's in
They locked down again?
Yes, sir.
Oh gosh.
Lockdown.
Fuck.
Like a couple days ago. So, unfortunately, Tresor is now closed at the moment, as is everywhere. So, if you're stuck in Barcelona, you're fucked right now. Anyway. So.
Well, I got also an email from Matthew, who runs a head shop in Luxembourg. They're now on lockdown from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. 7 days a week right now. So I guess not everybody is dealing with the pandemic well. It's a global crisis, and we're gonna just have to go inside for a little while. 2 weeks, right?
So, yep. So, Tresor,
Yeah.
hopefully we'll be open soon, but in the meantime.
But if you're back in Denver from Barcelona,
Oh, shit. I got
you
right
know,
here. What do I
or
got?
in
I got
Pueblo,
this,
or in Colorado
Tropicana-
Springs.
I got some Tropicana cookies from
Oh, no shit.
bag, and I got some kimchi.
That's coming next, buddy.
And
When I see you next.
No, that I have those strains right here, man. In fact, isn't the Tropicana cookies from 14er?
Yep.
Yeah. So Apothecary Extracts, if you mention the Done Deal at any of their 3 locations, you're going to get a gram of their ambrosia and an infused joint for $25. What a way to spend an afternoon. So just mention Done Deal and they will hook you up. I think they have, I saw a picture on Instagram. It is unbelievable, their level of expertise in processing. And I think there's like 30, 40 strains on the shelves. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mark. I know you head
Between
down
Med
there
and
every now
Rec,
then.
probably, yes.
Yeah. Absolutely amazing. So bravo to those guys. I know they're killing it in Oklahoma and everywhere. You're going to probably see Apothecary Extracts just everywhere soon. So that one I got to try. That high cannabinoid, that's like 98%. Just straight up crystals. So who's we next? Oh, Extract Craft. Extractcraft.com. You know, we were talking about think about what you can make. You could make an habanero or a scorpion pepper extract.
No, that would be ridiculous.
Right?
Yeah.
It already, forget about it. You just
Forget
make it in the
about
house
it.
and everybody starts to
That's what you
burn.
could call it.
But I guess like the hot sauces that are made with that extract are the ones that hurt your stomach. Just FYI.
Oh, what are you supposed to do then?
You're supposed to just use the peppers, you know what I mean? But if people do make extracts, and then
I will just make it for just.
Oh, then they wind up
just to
hurting
play
themselves.
jokes on people, right?
So don't listen to me then. Don't do that. Don't do that. But you can make lavender oils, all the essential oils, anything you've been growing in your garden. I'm sure you could process whatever you want. But if you wanted to make
You gotta say bagels.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh,
Everybody needs more concentrated bagels because they're not concentrated enough.
that's called a
Bagels.
bagel chip.
Mm.
Yeah. So Extract Craft, they've got two versions, right? They've got the Ito Pro, which is their big one, and then they've got the sort of the home desktop version. Each one button pushed. Adam likes buttons. These don't have buttons, just one. No knobs. Can't fuck it up. But you're gonna
You
need
could.
something to. I could. That's why I don't have one because you've been swearing I'm gonna get one. But you're gonna need to put a solvent in there to make your extract, and so you go to 420 Extractor. Who I saw a what is it, like a sponsored thing from Instagram? The one of the swipe up ones.
Oh yeah.
So they must be doing well right now. They also make hand sanitizer. Yeah.
Listen, he hit a wall. Hit a
Take it
wall.
over.
He hit a wall. They make hand sanitizer. Put them down. Hey. Well, no, they got a great. I mean, they are Mystic Mountain Mystic Mountain Distillery, and so they've got a whole line of products already. And then they saw that their friends from Extract Craft were buying alcohol from other guys, and they were like, "Hey, dude, we'll make this work." They put it together, and they're making made for this industry, and you can buy them in any size. You can buy them like from. You get 50-gallon fucking barrels. You can get totes. You can get 2.5 gallons, 5 gallons, whatever.
50-gallon drum. I'll
Hell
take
yeah.
two.
Take two.
Sweet.
So yeah, check them out. Obviously, done deal.
And it's gluten-free, non-GMO. But if you're a smoker and you want quality flour, rosin, extracts, they don't have any hash right now, but they've got new chocolate bars, capsules. You go to 14erboulder.com. 14ers on 28th and Mapleton between 30th and 28th. They are, in my opinion, one of the top 5 dispensaries in the entire state. And that is saying a lot because I get into arguments with people all the time. They always want to tell me that California.
Never. Come on.
Yes, they
Can't
want to say
imagine.
California has the best weed. And I always just want to call bullshit. And I'm constantly using 14er as a metric of what good quality weed should taste like. They have their own lighting system.
Yeah, there's
they
good
mix
weed.
their
There's
own.
good weed and bad weed everywhere for sure. But definitely 14ers they hold their own for being across the board. We've had many times where we've had guests come. Remember we had like 3 people come. Yeah, everyone pulls out their fucking weed. They all bought it there or get it there. From
Oh yeah. People just showed up with 14er
and
jars
we're like,
here.
see, we didn't even have to fucking promote it because people just know. That's
Yeah, it's the shit.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of new flavors just dropped. And I got to say, out of all the rosin I've tried, their process is so on point. So you got to give them a try. It's 14erboulder.com. Only one person in the store at a time. You got to place a pre-order. You can't show up and order at the counter. Place a pre-order. You let them know you're there when you get there. They'll call you in. It's quick, easy, and as safe as can be. So 14erboulder.com. I love those guys. Yeah,
we could just call it bag
face.
oil. We call it bag oil instead of bagel oil.
Believe it or not, I honed my
Bagel.
bagel making, bringing them bagels every time I went. So they're fully aware of the bagels. But you remember, if you're growing anything at home in your garden, or you happen to be a garden manager somewhere, you have to go to fishheadfarms.com. Tommy was on the show tonight. His product is amazing. No fish are harmed in the harvesting of their poop. The fish shit is incredible. We need you guys to send in some more photos of Adam as a fish wearing a diaper.
What?
And that's the new contest this week. Remember, we talked about it right beforehand with the whole staff. So
I thought it was pictures of Mike Denver.
Oh yeah, I thought it was Mike Denver. Yeah,
with
Mike
his
Denver
long flowing
as a
hair.
fish. Yeah,
There you go.
There
Then we
we
got to
go.
send him some too.
You got to send him some anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
absolutely.
do.
We'll give him some bagels.
Everybody gets fish shit and bagels.
Fish shit and bagels, the perfect combination.
Everybody wants fish shit and bagels.
Yes, Rosin Dogs. Dave is very stoned. Of course he is. He hasn't had dinner yet, so
Super
I'm looking forward to a bagel.
Are you really going to eat a bagel for dinner?
No,
Okay.
not this late. I like him for breakfast.
Yeah, but you got to eat them
With
now.
some
'cause
eggs.
How many times have you had to eat a bagel because you knew it was going to go bad? And you're just like, Okay. You have to eat
Actually,
it.
I'm
Like,
really good. You slice them up, you stick them on a pan, and you put them in the oven, and you make bagel chips.
How many bagel chips have
Plus,
you
my
eaten this
neighbor,
year?
my neighbor has an Airbnb, so I can always give bagels away. He'll feed
Nice.
anybody who shows up.
Excellent.
Hardest bagels in town.
So look who we got. I have so many of these to share with you guys.
What's that?
They sent me an entire box.
Oh,
I haven't
yeah.
counted them, but I got to say there's like 30 of these packages.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see them or no?
Terp wipes.
Yes, sir. Terp wipes.
Oh wow.
I'm telling you, this is a superior product,
dude. Did you
with
know
what
that they have a monthly subscription thing on their website?
Look at that.
And it's actually
I did not know that.
It's pretty decent. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, that is the perfect product
If you
to
use them a
have on
lot.
a monthly subscription.
All right, well, let's talk to
Oh,
them
I
about-
use it all the time.
We got the done deal on the subscriptions. There we go.
There we
Yeah,
go.
just enter Done Deal there.
Yeah.
They will hook you up. They're a great, great product. Okay. So we did a little comparison with just a regular alcohol prep pad, cleaning a bowl, and a terp wipe. It's thicker,
Superior.
times the size. They really work. So listen, we're all a bunch of stoner dabbers. So I'm telling you, they really work. Look at that clean bong that Adam has that he cleaned with a terp wipe.
Is it clean? Is it though?
It was clean before the show started, but you've dabbed so much
Is it though?
that now it's dirty.
That's not so bad. I mean, luckily with the dabs compared to weed, I mean, back in the day we had some dirty ass pipes. I can't believe how many times you go over to your friend's house and you'd be like, "What the hell? When was the last time you cleaned this thing?" And, oh, dude, and you look at it, it's just barely the water could even get through the whatever's in there. And so,
You're sucking on the bowl and it's going. Oh shit! Let me burn that off, man.
Yeah, exactly. So, compared to that, most of the dab rigs are relatively clean. So
yeah, but follow them on Instagram. They've got a pretty good feed going. Go to terpwipe. Is it terpwipes.com on there, Mark? I believe.
Terpwipes.com. Yep.
Yep. Fantastic, guys. Thank you guys for sponsoring the show. But where's James Bean? Wasn't he supposed to call in right now so he can promote?
I sent him a link and everything.
company?
I said, "Come on."
Maybe
come
the
on.
horns will summon him.
There were so
that
many
is the way to get-
Instagram
That is the way to
things,
get
and
James. Actually, by the way,
He was tweeting about this alert. Everyone should pay attention. He's got a huge drop coming, and now he's got the biggest audience he can, and he's not calling in. James Bean,
We had some
be
news
that man
too.
on the
He
scene.
had some news too, which I wanted to talk about, but we don't really have time, so people have to look into it themselves. But apparently, there's been a mass cleanup in Spain of all the different seed companies. So, Dynafem, Humboldt Seeds, and Mosca all got raided yesterday, I think it was.
Wow.
Oh shit!
So there's a big, I guess, kind of turn against because all the seed guys were I wouldn't say they were in impunity, but they were all running pretty relatively legal, I guess, is what the way they thought they were. They were paying their taxes, and that was the problem, is that it was all pretty much there. Okay, you guys are doing really good. You get paid 12 million or something last year, or made about 12 million last year. So they're looking at okay, these guys are getting serious, and I think they just rolled them up. So I'm gonna I have an article which I will forward to Mark, and he'll put a link on the site, and you guys can check it out after the show. And
I hope our friends at Requiem are okay. I haven't heard anything from them that's anything went south, but
well, this just
I will
happened. the other
definitely
day,
reach
so
out.
This happened just the other day. So like I said, it's kind of crazy because that's the way it always was in Holland and a lot of places when it's legal like that or semi-legal. Everybody knows what's up, so it's not like a big deal, and as long as everything's cool, it's cool. But then when they decide they want to put the clamp down, it's not like you can hide your grow room or change your location. You know what I mean? Your shit's just it's in the ground, so you're a sitting target at all times in that way. All right, let me see. Let me send this real quick, and then put that link on.
So, but if you are growing quality seeds, you're going to need quality lighting.
Well, let's give Seeds here now a little more shout out.
Oh, we're going to stay on until James calls?
Well, just give him a little more shout out, and maybe, you never know, magically he'll show up. The horns have been
give him
summoned.
the horns again then,
One
Mark.
more horn. One more horn.
Oh, one more horn to summon him.
Come on.
The James Bean call.
Bean. The horns have been called. But yeah, go to seedsherenow.com if you want to check out their website. James may. He'll show up at the very end of the show, right when we're done. Of course.
I gotta stop looking at Ron the Dogs.
Yeah.
Yes.
For
Those are
of
taint
you
wipes.
not
Those are taint
following the
wipes.
chat,
Those are
I
taint
did
wipes.
not say there's a brothel next to my house. Lest anyone think where I live. No, it's no.
Yeah, exactly. I have no Puffco Peak Pro yet, Roz and Dogs. I know it's sad. So I said to Dave, I asked Dave to.
I'm gonna reach out and we're gonna have.
We're gonna reach out and have.
We'll get the CEO of Puffco on.
Yes.
I spoke with Kevin, their guy, and he got me in touch with their. And we'll let him know what a superior product he has and how the king of genetics breeding for the past 30 years uses his product. And
Well, yeah, the fact that I'm holding up tough with my Puffco against you guys and your Carta fucking quackers.
well, we'll see how they feel about you not having the standard. See, but I use my Carta with the standard thing because the standard top worked just fine.
Fuck the standard shit. I'll show them what's up.
Yeah, right.
Be like, hit that bitch. Anyway, but yes, James
right.
Bean, man on the scene.
James, we tried.
We're gonna send. Okay, I sent. Did I send you that link? Did you just get it? I think I did.
Where did you send it to me?
To your website, to your email.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, cool. So you put that link there, and that's a news article that James was going to come on and bust out and tell us a bit more details if he had any. Otherwise, who knows? But yeah, sad days.
Next Friday,
sad days in the case,
is the giveaway.
Yes, it is from our next sponsor.
So you have to tell us what you would do with a new lamp. So you go to Illuminar.com and you can take a look at all their products.
IlluminarLighting.com.
Yes, Illuminarlighting.
IlluminarLighting.com. But you send an email to donedeal@adamdunshow.com and tell us why you need a new lamp, and we're giving one away next week.
Yep.
Is it an LED again? Did we find that out?
Yeah, LEDs.
Sweet.
We're doing some LED runs right now, and we're going to be talking to them about the new hash controller. I think we're going to get some of those maybe giveaways soon, but only good if you got the lights. You got to have the lights first, so who knows? I might have to, but I'll be getting a new setup from them soon too. Right now, I think their biggest problem with those guys is they're victims of their own success, and there isn't a single light. There wasn't a single light available last week anywhere, so that's good.
That's fantastic.
but
Good for them,
but there's
man.
but there's a shitload coming, and when those come in, I'll be setting up a new room, and so we'll be giving a weekly update, a Luminar LED update.
Nice.
For the new spot.
Sweet.
Yes. Yeah, and that concludes
this edition of the Return of the Pumpkin.
Oh yeah, and our sponsors. Yeah, the end of the show. This is it. We went overboard as usual.
This was fun.
Above and beyond.
Lots of laughs tonight.
Got lots of shout outs. So we got a lot of people. Well, lots of shout outs. I got a couple shout outs. Mateo, who always calls me during the call. Like some people, it's funny, they always call you whenever you're doing a show. Like my mom, right at the beginning of the show, she'll call me. Just today, I'm surprised she didn't do it, but normally she calls me right at the beginning of the show. Oh, I forgot it was your show. It's like, magically at the moment I start the show, you always call me. And then I have another friend, Mike, who always calls me, and then Mateo sometimes calls me. So anyway, shout out to Mateo. Shout out to my beautiful wife, Cece, who survived her hot Hannah challenge from Tate's Scorpion Peppers.
Yes.
Shout out to little Nick, who's doing his homeschooling, which is always interesting. So we got him doing, he did fungi, and he just did some quantum physics, which is great. I was like, he's learning some, and now he's going to learn Minecraft
string theory.
Minecraft mathematics with
excellent.
A architect teacher who's into Minecraft, so that's kind of interesting. It's like, okay, strange. Shout out to Ace down at the farm. She just made it home safe. She was out in Cali. Says she never wants to go out there again. She's like, that's enough of that. She was like, oh my God, it's gone crazy. All the, because we kind of grew up in LA, and so she kind of went back to tried to go back to all the places that she went to. Tried to go get a pastrami sandwich. You'll appreciate that, Dave.
Nice.
So she tried to get a pastrami sandwich.
Katz's Deli?
No, that's the first thing I said, but that's a little difficult. But no,
Because it's closed.
She had a couple spots, and every place was like complicated and difficult. Just kept going from spot to spot to spot. Finally got one. I forget where it was, but $19 for a fucking pastrami sandwich. It's like,
oh fuck, God damn it.
It's like she's like, well, that's that. You know what I mean?
Well, that's how much Rosendogs paid for each bagel that got sent after those at FedEx fees. So I can appreciate that, I guess.
Oh, you're laying that on fucking Rosendogs now after all that?
No, the bagels were free. You just bought the shipping.
Yeah, but that's worthless. The bagels are hard as a rock. We'll see how they are. Did you like?
No, there's no way that
cryogenic.
No, I
freezers?
expected them. No, listen, I'm just gonna call FedEx on Monday and they'll take care of it. There's no way.
Can they
It's
give you a
perishable
new
food item? They fucked up.
Yeah, they give you a new fresh run and you just go and drop it off, right?
There you go.
That's what I would expect.
I know somebody who runs a shipping company now, so I'm going to talk to him about getting a little cheaper shipping. Shout out to MTI.
Hi.
Of course, shout out to MTI. Shout out to the chat gang. Shout out to Rosendog. Shout out to Mike Denver for showing up last week and getting all high and but he survived. He survived.
Yeah, sorry we got you so high, or at least Adam did. I watched you get really high.
I wanted to get him more high. I was expecting to get him more
Yeah, right. That's what. Yeah, that's. I like threw papers at him. I was like, "You're gonna need these.
You gotta get ready." He took it like it was calm.
You need to put your big boy pants on if you're coming into the Adam Dunn Show studios.
Calm, cool,
Okay.
and collective, but he didn't get super duper high yet. So.
I don't know, man. If you're smoking the weed that we had, I don't know if you'd hang either.
But he did try all the buds I gave him
That's good.
at home. So some people, it's just getting high on the air is it's
That's
funny.
all right. He's
It's
a
funny.
breeder.
Well, once you look at those
Just
cameras,
Yeah,
if you look at the camera, like he probably saw the light and the camera, and it was just over. It was like, that's it, done deal right there. It's like we got it.
Shit happens.
Exactly. Shout out to
my girlfriend Bonnie.
Oh,
Look
listen
at
to
that.
guy.
Isn't that
Listen to
nice?
that guy. And shout out to how's the podcast going? How's the Sofa Bab?
Sofa Bab.
Yeah.
SofaBab.com.
Yeah. You guys rocking it? Or
we're rocking it with the same.
I haven't seen so much artwork coming out lately. Has it been
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Last week was the Rust in Peace cover.
Oh, I missed it. I don't have to look.
Yeah, because our drummer, we had a new drummer when we had our band, and our guitar player suggested they listen to Rust in Peace, and he was like, "That was the shittiest album with the shittiest drumming in the world," and so he made it that the next week.
Of course.
Yeah,
it's all about the shittiest of the shitty. All right, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks to Ron, obviously, for calling in, Tommy and Tate. And if you guys need anything dried, if you have friends who are fucking got fields because this is about to get, basically, if you're in Colorado and you have any friends who have any hemp plants out, they're not going to survive after this weekend. So they got to get their shit down and out as soon as possible. So if you do,
but we do know where there are several thousand pounds of smokable CBG flower. Completely legal in the state, so you can send something to Done Deal at Adam Dunn Show, and we'll connect you with them.
Oh, CBG.
Because they just need to sell it.
Wow, slanging right there. There was some live slanging going on.
I'm just going to get you in touch with them. I'm going to have nothing to do with the slanging in the middle.
Just straight up slanging at the end of the show.
You'll talk to the guy.
Oh, YouTube flagged you for slanging.
Yeah, right.
It's going to come up as a little thing later. We're going to get slanged.
The show has been edited.
Slanged.
Content.
We're going to get, you guys were slanging. We heard you slanging.
Shout out to Yoda.
Which Yoda is this?
Yoda.
Your Yoda?
Right here.
Is that why fucking Rosendogs he was on you? You know exactly what you're wearing and shit.
Yeah.
Damn. All right,
He probably has my house bugged. Peace.
Peace out, guys. See you next week.
Practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden.
This is a special question. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimedia, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.